Yo, yo, yo. We ruffling some feathers today, man. We is ruffling feathers today. Cause I need answers. I need answers. One of my subscribers told me earlier today that I sound foolish defending Trump. Use the word foolish. So my question today is, what's people's problem with Trump, man? What Trump did to black people, man? Why is black people so upset with Donald Trump? What did he do? I need real answers, man. Cause I think people is being misled. I think people is thinking with their emotions. I think people is falling into the media manipulation. And I want answers, man. Real answers. Because from what I see, I ain't seen him do nothing. I think a lot of the things he say been mischaracterized. And people not using their own knowledge and insight to make it make sense. They just running with the narrative that the news say run with. So I'm gonna need some Trump haters over here, man. Black ones preferably. So I need answers. We ready to go downstairs. I'm waiting on my coffee to heat up. My phone way down. I gotta put this phone on the charger. But what's up, though, P? We back. Then we gonna talk about Bossman DLo. We got Dr. Fauci. Got pardoned for nothing. Have you ever seen that happen before? Have you ever seen a person get pardoned without charges? Like, this shit is crazy. We living in a new world now, man. My man ain't got no charges and he got pardoned. What's up, Ball Out? I wonder why. I wonder why Joe Biden thought it was a necessity to pardon Dr. Fauci without charges. God damn it. I done spilled my whole coffee. Niggas, what it is, we ruffling feathers tonight. We ruffling feathers tonight, man. We might lose some subscribers tonight, might gain them few. Yeah, man. But we gonna get understanding today, man. Cause I'm gonna tell y'all this, right? If I got, they deleted my Facebook page, my first one. But I got videos sounding just like the. I got videos, one shot. Yeah, I know he was down with the play. See, that's what I'm saying, though, Nicholas. A lot of us know, but a lot of us is still confused. And it's crazy because they think I'm confused. They think, like, yo, what's up, Freeform? So, yo, we got to discuss this, man. We got to discuss this at length. We need numbers like we had the last 2 days over this bitch. We need a full audience. Cause I'm trying to get understanding, yo. Yo, it is freezing cold outside, yo. Oh my God. Yo, I'm talking about temperature in the negatives. We need full answers. So we're gonna wait till we get some people, yo, before we visit that topic. But Bossman DLo. What's up with Bossman DLo, man? They say Bossman DLo out here abusing drugs so much so that he can't even perform. That's what they saying. They ain't come from me either.
Hate is becoming stronger and thicker.
They say Trump is on a roll, and it's just day one. Meds to trans community stop, IRS freeze, pro-abortion website shut down, Mexico borders locked, Afghan refugee flights canceled, and more.
Trump gonna do?
I think we getting back to some type of normalcy. And it's amazing to me, yo, how black people, yo, like, we gotta tighten up. We gotta stop falling for the nonsense, yo. You always gonna be able to fool black people because we too emotional. We too emotional, yo. And a lot of times, yo, we just go off what we see, yo. We don't put no thought into it. If that's what they say happened, that's what happened. That's what happened. But let's see what this is. I don't know. I ain't saved this or nothing, but this just opened the first thing I saying.
What Trump
the hell?
And baby, guess what? After Trump is in office, you still gonna be a convicted felon. After Trump in motherfucking office, your bum ass still ain't gonna have no motherfucking coins or no motherfucking bonds.
I think that's a guy, y'all.
Bastard that your gay ass brought into this motherfucking world. Bitch, let's talk about it. Trump gonna do what the Trump. What
that
Trump
motherfucker got a whole. That shit is crazy. Trump orders freezing government hiring mandates workers return to office. The border shut down. Man, it's getting real. Day one. He said, "Hey, Carl, that was a guy, Carl. That wasn't no girl. That was a guy, man. Upset that Trump stopped the free pills they was giving him." See, Trump stopped the free pills they was giving him. Hold up. Hold up, yo. This funny as shit. Check this out before we get the boss. Matter of fact, let's get the Bossman DLo first.
Bro,
I want some more people on here, y'all. Cause we need to have a real conversation, man. We need 300 people on this bitch. We need real. I need answers. What did Trump do to black people? Why are black people so upset with Trump? My aunt sent a message in the group chat today and told the family, don't nobody watch the inauguration. They want the numbers low. Like, what the fuck is going on? Street to Kentucky. Blue Fox from the bluegrass. Yeah, man. Nothing wrong with the bluegrass.
Thing, bro. First of all, you drove from Florida, man, to Detroit. You been to Detroit, nigga. You in your room, figured out, nigga. We keep calling you, nigga. You keep talking about you gonna be there in 30 minutes. 30 minutes went past the whole hour.
We're gonna find out today.
You missed your whole set. That's when everybody was just sitting there while the DJ was playing a whole hour, and everybody just waiting on you. Then you pop up, nigga, with Glorilla on. Nigga. You can't go after Glorilla. That's in the contract. You missed your set. You ain't on business because you a double finger. Then you go drive up with Glorilla on. The time we got to be out of Little Caesar Arena at 11 o'clock. You missed your set. Because you come out. Dude, don't blame that on the promoters. You weak ass, bro. You a fiend, bro. First of all, you drove from Florida, man.
That Bossman DLo out here doing bad business. I'm literally in Detroit right now. Been here. Y'all blame the promoter for why I ain't come on. Not me. I drove 26 hours to Detroit.
Send that front end, man. We need that front end back. We need that 75,000. Send that front end. You missed your set. You didn't perform. We need that money back, man. Send that ASAP. Send that front end, man. We need.
Yo, so what be Bossman DLo doing bad business? What's this?
Right. Because I'm going to take full fucking accountability for what happened yesterday. Yesterday, my client, Bossman DLo, missed his set in Detroit because of my fault, because of my team's fault. There was a schedule update. We didn't see the email. We never got the word to Team DLo. And they showed up 5 minutes after they were supposed to, which ended up being way longer than 5 minutes because of my fuck up. I'm sorry to the promoters. I'm so sorry to Team DLo. I'm going to make this right. I'm going to pay back the promoter's deposit. And I'm going to make DLo whole. And that's why we're different. Because I'm taking accountability. And I'm making it right with my artists.
Well, man, salute to yo. Let's check to see if he got a whole video out. Man, salute to yo for making shit right, man.
I know I'm different.
Mac Agency.
I know I'm different.
Mac.agency. Let's see what really happened. Matt died. I already said because Bossman DLo, man, it's been a lot being said about Shorty.
I know I'm different. I know I'm different because I'm going to take full fucking accountability for what happened yesterday. Yesterday, my client, Bossman DLo.
Y'all think he just taking a fall? You think he taking a fall, or, you know, it's really his fault?
In Detroit. Because of my fault. Because of my team's fault. There was a schedule update. We didn't see the email.
People want their money back.
We never got the word to Team DLo. And they showed up 5 minutes after they were supposed to.
Thank you, the fall guy.
Which ended up being way longer than 5 minutes because of my fuck up. I'm sorry to the promoters. I'm so sorry to Team DLo. I'm going to make this right. I'm going to pay back the promoter's deposit. And I'm going to make DLo whole. And that's why we're different. Because I'm taking accountability. And I'm making it right with my artist. I'm making it right with the promoter. And we will never make that mistake again.
I mean, well, he took accountability for it, I guess. Sweet to y'all. I don't know how he fucked it up. How I do a 5 minute late turn into not even performing. But hey, salute to Shorty. All right, yo, but I need answers though, y'all. Yo, what is people's problem with Donald Trump? Matter of fact, before we get to Trump, let's talk about Dr. Fauci. Did y'all know Dr. Fauci got pardoned and he don't even got no charges? Dr. Fauci pardoned. Did y'all know that? And they pardoned everybody from June 6th committee. Why would he have to do that, y'all? What did the June 6th committee do?
Tell us what's going on, what President Biden is doing.
What did the June 6th committee do? What their investigation was flawed? It wasn't a real investigation. What happened?
On his way out the door.
Breaking news from the White House, a statement from President Joe Biden issuing preemptive pardons for a number of individuals that he said he is fearful will be persecuted, politically persecuted. I just want to tick through for you the list of people that the president says he is pardoning preemptively today. They include General Mark Milley, Dr. Anthony Fauci. We also have members and staff of the committee that investigated the January 6th insurrection. He also said that that group would include the U.S. Capitol and D.C. Metropolitan Police officers who testified before this committee. Jake, this was a possibility that we had anticipated and that we reported was something that President Biden was considering. And in all of our reporting, we anticipated that if he were to take this action, it was very possible that it would happen at the very last minute. And here we are, just hours before President Biden is set to leave the White House. The president is announcing this very controversial decision. In this lengthy statement that he just released, he says, I believe in the rule of law, and I am optimistic that
I know that's what he did, Big Lo. I know. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it all because I want answers, y'all. I need Trump haters to come in the building, man. Because I want to know, what did he do that was so wrong? Why do blacks hate Trump this way? I want to know.
Politics. But he says these are exceptional circumstances, and I cannot, in good conscience, do nothing. Now, when he is talking about exceptional circumstances, of course, he is referring to the incoming President Donald Trump, who has made very clear in all of his public statements that he is focused on taking revenge on people, on individuals who he sees as having done him wrong. These specific people, and particularly if you think about the members who served on the January 6th committee, the staffers who served to work on that committee, these are people that the president obviously was worried would face a lot of legal troubles, knew that there was just a lot of hardships coming their way, and this is why he is taking this action to make sure that he can save them from all of that, even though he makes clear he does not believe that they did anything wrong, Jake.
Then why pardon them?
All right, MGLE, thanks so much. Let's go to Jamie Gangel now.
You already know, Carl.
For more on this. And Jamie Gangel, a lot of the members of the January 6th committee said that they didn't want preemptive pardons. They hadn't committed any crimes. They didn't think it was necessary. But there is always just the question of even a prosecution that isn't going anywhere is still going to cost potential defendants up to millions and millions of dollars to just defend themselves.
Right. I think I was just texting with some people who would be covered by this. And as you know, Jake, there was a lot of discussion back and forth about this because members of the committee are covered by speech and debate. Technically, witnesses, Capitol Hill Police, DC Police, members
that like
of the
button,
committee,
y'all.
everybody I spoke to who was involved with the January 6th committee hearings felt very strongly. They all said exactly the same words. We didn't do anything wrong, so we don't need a pardon. But, and this is the but, it's the extraordinary circumstances. It's the fact that President Biden felt that there would be this political retribution, political revenge that did not have any bearing in the facts, but that he was giving members.
Yo, if they didn't do nothing wrong, he shouldn't have to pardon them. You know, if they get investigated and nothing comes back, then why would they get pardoned for? Maybe it's because he was scared that Trump was going to do to them what they did to Donald Trump. That's just my uneducated opinion.
Committee staffers, witnesses, sort of a blanket of protection to try to send a message more than anything else. These people should not, nobody should go after these people.
John King, I want to ask you about these pardons early this morning from President Biden.
Well, the president and his team obviously think it is necessary. I think the result of it will be, it'd be a really interesting limousine ride and tea at the White House between President Biden, who decided this was necessary because of what he thinks about Donald Trump. So they're going to be sitting as close as we are, even closer. And this is to the very end, Biden versus Trump, Trump versus Biden. That has been the last 4 years of American life. It's been longer than that.
That's what I thought, Big
so
Low.
The president thinks this is necessary.
Come to find out, you don't. You can pardon motherfuckers before they get charged. Like, this is new to me. He probably the first president to ever pull a move like this.
Trump said during the campaign about retribution, about getting back at the people he thinks have been disloyal to him. Is it necessary?
Yeah, because you know what they did to him.
It's the smarter people than me. But what it does, it will continue the polarization and the fights, and it will put a burr in Donald Trump's saddle.
On this issue of the pardons, you know, this day is really interesting because you have all these customs that are going to be observed, these constitutional norms in a day of norm busting, in an era of norm busting. So even as they ride to the Capitol, we now see these pardons. Right after the swearing in,
Jersey, don't go nowhere.
Trump is going to sign some executive orders,
what Trump
many
do
of
to
which
you,
will
Jersey?
be tested in court because they challenge the constitutional separation of powers. So it's a day of customs and a day of customs busting.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Anita McBride, who's next to me, former Chief of Staff for First Lady Laura Bush, in just a moment about the customs of the day and that transition. It's fascinating, the details of it. I do want to stick with the pardons, though. Tim Naftali, a historian, talk about the nature of these pardons, just in sort of the scope of history.
Well,
all right, so let's get to this, man. Black people say Donald Trump is a racist. Asked why Black Americans killed by police. Trump responds. Let's see what he said.
Let's talk about George Floyd. You said George Floyd's death was a terrible thing.
Terrible.
Why are African Americans still dying at the hands of law enforcement in this country?
And so are white people. So are white people. What a terrible question to ask. So are white people. More white people, by the way. More white people.
More white people. Now, look. I think some of the things that Donald Trump said, See, let me tell y'all something, right? When it come down to what's going on in the black community, everybody don't know. You understand what I'm saying? So it's his job to know. He needs to learn. But let me tell you something else that's been going on for the last 100 years. We don't cooperate with both sides. So if we just cooperating with the Democrats and we're not talking to the Republicans, it's a chance that they don't really even know what the fuck going on in our communities, man. So when you hear statements like this, right? People run with it. Donald Trump, but nobody is putting thought into it and to see what's really going on. For years, it was deemed, I don't want to say disrespectful, but ignorant to talk to the other side. When Ice Cube tried to talk to the, matter of fact, let's look at what happened with Ice Cube. Ice Cube, Black Americans. Ice Cube contract with Black America. Now look, I'm not really an Ice Cube fan, but y'all remember this? Y'all remember Ice Cube did this?
So,
and he got ridiculed for this.
Over the last 4 days,
what's up, C?
The Democratic National Party held their convention. A lot of people, getting up there and talking. And,
I ain't no fan of Ice Cube.
Everybody really, eating it up, throwing their hands in the air like they just don't care damn near. So it's what I didn't hear is what's in it for us? What's in it for the black community besides the same old thing we've been getting from these parties? What's in it for us for real?
And that's what I'm saying. We never, for the longest time, you couldn't even talk to the other side. You talk to the other side, you're going to get fucking pulverized by your family and the media. So, I don't expect nothing but more than ignorance coming from, Donald Trump. But at least he being honest. I'd rather an honest answer from an ignorant person than a motherfucking political answer for a person that knows what's going on. Do that make sense to people?
A contract with Black America. And I don't know why, because it's one of the most comprehensive reform documents that's come about in a long time that could really address the problem. The way it look, they don't have a plan. Everybody's, talking about get Trump out, get Trump out, get Trump out. If you vote, that's going to happen on the first day. So now what? Trump out, now what?
Oh, shit.
What? What do we get in the first 100 days? That's what we're trying to figure out. What do we actually get that they could give us overnight like that? They just pulled $3 trillion out their ass and gave it to their friends. That's American taxpayer money. That's your money that they just gave away. And then there's 42% of black businesses closed.
And Master Kennels, what that mean?
None of that money. Where's our fucking bailout?
What is FBA?
Where's the bailout? Not the PPP loan that they didn't give us. Where's the bailout? I don't want to hear about deficit. I don't want to hear about what our generations gonna have to pay. Because if we don't have shit, they ain't gonna have shit anyway to pay nothing. So we gotta start something right now. Democrats don't seem like they got a plan. Republicans don't seem like they got a plan for us. So how the hell you gonna vote for them? Make them earn that vote. They can.
And that's the same shit I've been saying. But for the longest time, you remember when he said this? Man, so many people had so much bad to say about this boy. Yeah, but my problem is, let me see. Donald Trump calls Baltimore a hole. Remember this? He caught a lot of backlash for this. But my thing is...
Well, you know how they say sunlight is the best disinfectant. Baltimore leaders and residents are defending the city against the president's tirades, which targeted Democratic Rep. Elijah Cummings. A lawmaker represents Maryland's 7th district and recently lambasted...
Yo, Congress people, politicians, been stealing from Baltimore. Talks about recent unrest in Baltimore. Trump attacks Baltimore in tweets. For decades now. Going to jail for it.
People in Baltimore are upset with President Trump for calling the city a rat-infested dump. That comment came while the president attacked Congressman Elijah Cummings over the weekend. He represents part of Baltimore. President Trump said Cummings is doing a bad job for his constituents.
Oh, I don't think they were kind words that he said.
Yeah, I know.
The president is really not being the man that he's supposed to be. The things he said about
I'm trying to show things that people took issue with, and it got mischaracterized. So the media took this story and ran it because Baltimore is a predominantly black city. But in reality, what he said was the fucking truth. What he said was the truth. It's potholes on every motherfucking street. Congress members stealing. Crime is out of control. But it's like, yo, people can't accept reality. He's not talking about the people. He's talking about how it's ran. That's why he came at Elijah Cummings, a rep for Baltimore. But the media takes this and make it about the people. And then the people that's watching suck it up and internalize it. Meanwhile, this whole statement, there's nothing racist in stating plainly what most people already know, that Elijah Cummings has done a terrible job for the people of his district and for Baltimore itself. Dems always play the race card when they are unable to win with facts. I ain't see nothing wrong with this. Do people, is there anything wrong with what he said? Where's the lie? But people take this and internalize it and then make it something that it ain't. Let's go to something else. Donald Trump gives police immunity.
So, Sonia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity? I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah, well, police unions are not backing this person either. But again, why would...
They're going to be charging the officer. I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens. I'm talking about people that are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 117 shootings and 17 deaths. Nobody wants.
This is the ignorance. If people sit down and explain the situation, he might see it different. But since nobody in the community is willing to sit down and tell them what the fuck is really going on, locking people up solves no crimes. Flat out. We done had a whole 30-year run of locking people up. Meanwhile, crime is still rampant. So some of these answers come from ignorance, not from being racist. It's a difference. Yeah, I'm saying Elon Musk. I'm going to talk about that too.
That. Nobody wants that. We need to
But the reason why he's ignorant is because we don't want to talk. And then when a person does decide to talk, he's a sellout. He's buck dancing. He's this, he's that. But though that hinders the greater cause. That mentality hinders the community. It handicaps us.
Our police officers have the respect and dignity back. In this particular case, I saw something that didn't look good to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
So, can you get a little more specific back to the immunity question? Who would make those changes?
Well, right now, for the most part, people are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments. But I'm saying if I felt, or if a group of people would feel that somebody was being unfairly prosecuted because the person did a good job maybe with crime, or made a mistake, an innocent mistake. There's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody made an innocent mistake, I would want to help that person.
What would those exceptions be? What would determine?
You go after somebody and it's a very close call and it's very dangerous. And they have, the policeman's life and woman is a very difficult thing because sometimes you have less than a second to make a, life and death decision. And sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
I got another one.
Let me
and then I'm answering both of those.
All my other sample.
Donald Trump wants the death penalty for drug dealers.
Sir, I heard you want the death penalty for drug dealers. Why? Well, I'd like to end the drug epidemic,
I know,
if that's
man.
okay. Remember this, and I said it. Every drug dealer, on average, kills 500 people. That's not mentioning all of the families that are destroyed forever.
Now let's talk about that. Yo, people do understand, right? That Donald Trump can only control the federal government. People do know that, right? So when you hear these things, that's not all drug cases. That's not all police involved shootings. Most police are prosecuted by the state. He can't do shit about a police being prosecuted by the state. The only time police shootings actually get to that point is when it get blew up by the media. Then the federal government normally comes in. See, this is the problem, yo. Like, people see these things and they don't imply any knowledge of the system, any knowledge about how things go. And they just run with it because the media run with a narrative that's racist. He's gonna kill, lock up black people for murder. Like, yo, it ain't that simple. Donald Trump can't change nothing statewide. Nothing. Not a police involved shooting, not somebody selling drugs. And how many people are selling drugs on a level to be killed? I don't even think it's too many black people that'll fall into that category. If you want to be technically honest. I think under that category, it'd probably be more white people and more Hispanics that'll fall under that category of serious drug trafficking. But people hear this and they run with it and they be dead wrong because they watching CNN and they running a fucking narrative and people don't add no context to it. They don't add no insight, no knowledge, no nothing. They just see it and believe it. That's why mainstream media has been considered propaganda for years. Because they tell you the news and then they tell you what to think about it. What's this? Oh, this is a longer version. Let's check this out.
You can't walk down a sidewalk in Chicago, get hit over the head.
I think so too, Nat.
Baseball bat from behind and say, "Gee, we live in a wonderful place." And that's what's happening. People, you see, they're being shoved into subway trains, trains coming along 40 miles an hour. Boom. A man shoved right into the train. These people, it's a horrible, horrible thing. Nobody's ever seen anything like what's happening now. Nobody's ever seen it because they're not respecting law and order. But with our police, when we give them back their tools, and you know what the tools are? It's up here. The tools is nobody can do it better than them. You'll have law and order again. You'll have respect. You have to respect the police. Right now, if a policeman speaks a little bit loudly, he loses his family, he loses his house, he loses his pension. We're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that anymore. Under the radical left Democrats, the streets of our cities are ruled by bloodthirsty gangs and violent criminals. Much of the crime wave is caused by drug dealers who, during the course of their lives, will kill an average of 500 American citizens. So you have a drug dealer.
How many people do
he or
that?
she, over the course of their life,
How
will
many
kill
neighborhood
500
drug
people with
dealers?
drugs. And I'm calling for the death penalty for drug dealers and human traffickers, which will, upon its passage, reduce drug distribution and crime the first day by 75%. Crime will go down because so much of our crime is caused by these people. You go to places like China and many, I don't want to get into it because we don't want to be too controversial, but you go to China, you go to Singapore, you go to many countries where they have the death penalty, they have no drug problem whatsoever. The drug dealer says, no, let's go to the United States, a much nicer way to live. No, we have to do it. Not that we want to do it. Nobody wants to talk about that. But if we're going to have a country, we're going to have to do it. We have no choice. With a Republican Congress, we must also pass critical funding to hire thousands more police officers nationwide, to put violent criminals behind bars and to keep them behind bars.
Why is filing your taxes with Free Tax USA different? Well, for starters, our premium federal tax returns are free for everyone, no matter what. With a free offer like this, people often ask, so how do you make money? While our federal return is always free, we make money from our optional paid services, like our state tax return, which is less than $20. Next, you may be asking, is Free Tax USA safe?
Come on, y'all.
Yes,
what else
we always
he
keep your information encrypted, private, and secure. As
Yo,
an
how many
authorized
people-
e-file provider, we've securely...
How many people in the neighborhood fall under that criteria, killing 500 people throughout their lifetime? I want answers, man. Come on, y'all. Like, because a person came to my comments that say he watched my channel and said I sound ignorant defending Trump. So if I sound ignorant, I want to be enlightened. I want to hear from somebody smart. Because I sound ignorant. How many people in the neighborhood that you know fit under the criteria of throughout their lifetime of selling drugs, they killed 500 people? Because I don't know any. Because those are the people that he's talking about giving the death penalty to. And I've been in the streets a long time. I done did shit my damn self. And I don't know any. What's up, August? What's up, Robin? What else, y'all? Come on, y'all. Somebody, what else he say, y'all? Oh, let's look up to the Donald Trump won't. No, that's not Donald Trump. Donald Trump Sr. won't lease to black renters. Trump sued for housing discrimination. Now look at this. Let me tell y'all something about this. This is seriously mischaracterized. In 1970s, Donald Trump didn't own Trump Towers. Trump Sr. did. But let's
14,000 apartments in 39 different buildings, all mostly white tenants. That is until the Department of Justice took notice in 1973 and slammed Donald Trump and his father, Fred Trump, with a lawsuit. Trump management was charged with discriminating against African Americans and breaking federal law. Donald Trump, then just 27, was president of the company. The Department of Justice accused the Trumps of violating the Fair Housing Act, arguing they were turning away renters based on race and color. Who tipped them off? Local activists, so-called testers, posing as potential renters at Trump's buildings, mainly in Brooklyn and Queens. Elise Goldweber was a lawyer for the DOJ's Fair Housing section at the time and was called on to handle the Trump case.
When the black testers came, they were shown, they may have been shown apartments, but were told nothing was available. Whereas when the white testers came, yes, there were things that were available. That would be the norm.
And if the Trumps did rent to a black person, Goldweber recalls, they would do so only at one building in Brooklyn, reserving the other buildings for white tenants.
That the white people would live in Trump Village and the people of color would live in Flatbush.
And according to the Justice Department, they even had a secret coding system to do it. A racial code.
Hey, Deborah, I know.
How.
Some of the applications.
I know this is bogus. You hear how he's saying they. They're saying they, but they're talking about Donald Trump. Donald Trump saying, let's see when. Hold on. What year did Donald Trump Sr. retire from Trump Towers? What year did Donald Trump Sr. give Trump Oh, I don't give you a fucking date. St. Louis for the next time he's on contact Fred was behind down highway into the market. Mary Trump states the law and involves investment. In 1970, so this happened in 1973. Fred Trump was the chair and Donald Trump was the president. Look at this. So when everybody he didn't rent to black owners. Yo, Fred Trump owned them towers at that time. That was his call. That was his call. But since Donald Trump was the president and Fred Trump is dead, Donald Trump didn't do this. Yo, Trump didn't own Trump Towers at that time. What year did Donald Trump take on as chair of Trump Towers?
According to Wikipedia, Trump Tower is a 58-story, 663-foot tall mixed-use condominium skyscraper at 721 to 725 Fifth Avenue in the Midtown Manhattan neighborhood of New York City, between East 56th and 57th Streets.
But the chair's over top of the president, ain't it? Ain't the chair over top of the president? Or am I tripping? Ain't the chair over top of the president, y'all?
Were marked with a C, which we learned that it meant colored, so that the prospective tenants who had come in were noted to be colored.
Yes, you heard her right. The Department of Justice alleged applications submitted by prospective African American renters were designated with a secret code, such as C for colored, to indicate a black person was looking to rent. In true Trump fashion, Donald Trump hit back, calling the government's accusations absolutely ridiculous, and telling the court, "I have never, nor has anyone in my organization ever, to the best of my knowledge, discriminated or shown bias in the renting of our apartments." Trump's lawyer said the government's suit failed to give names, addresses, or specific incidences of discrimination. Claiming the lawsuit caused substantial damage to their business and reputation, Trump took the most unusual step of suing the Justice Department for defamation, seeking $100 million in damages. But that countersuit was tossed out by the judge. Even so, the Trump family maintained they never discriminated based on color, but were instead trying to avoid renting to people on welfare. 2 years later, in 1975, Trump and his father settled the case, agreeing not to discriminate against anyone. They also promised to advertise in publications aimed at minorities, familiarize themselves with the details of the Fair Housing Act, and notify civil rights groups of apartment vacancies. The Department of Justice claimed victory, but the Trumps never admitted any wrongdoing, reportedly noting the settlement was in no way an admission of a violation.
It sounds like if those things happen, it sounds like more ignorance. Yo, believe it or not, y'all, it's a large part, it's a large segment of the world. So let me tell you what I noticed, right? I'm from Baltimore, predominantly black, right? So when I first moved to Pennsylvania, I worked out damn near Erie, Pennsylvania, where they tried to shoot Trump at. Predominantly white. You understand? Like predominantly white. And what I learned was, there's a large segment of the world that don't know nothing about what's going on with the black community. All they know is what they see on TV. That's all they know. And it's ignorance. A lot of it is ignorance, but people confuse ignorance for racism or for being racist. Now, some of it is racism, some of it is racist, but it's a large percentage of it that's ignorant too, that nobody ever talks about. Nobody ever talks about. You understand what I'm saying? So, if he was doing these things, why is racist the first thing that come to mind? Oh, he racist. Why can't be, he's still ignorant when it come down to the ills of the black community. Maybe nobody ever explained it to him. It's a lot of people like that in this world, y'all. I talked to a whole bunch of them. Like, they is totally oblivious to the problems. All they see is the murders. All they see is the deaths. All they see is the rap music. All they see is the glorification of violence. They don't know absolutely squat about what's really going on. Exactly, 2800. And that's what I learned, man. And I was like, damn. Because if you never let me tell you something. America has done a good job of keeping people separated by class, by race, and by class. So if I'm in Baltimore and these people was all in Erie, Pennsylvania, where it's country, everything around them, everything within a 20-mile radius is country, the chances are that they're running to me is slim to none. They probably never seen a person like me in their life until I work with them. And once they get to know me and I get to know them, you realize that, damn, We ain't all that different for real, especially when it comes to how we view this country and how we view America. But you wouldn't know that if you never been in them situations. Because we saying where the things that we see on TV we believe in, and the things that they see on TV they all believe in. But in reality, they all could be lies. They all could be mischaracterizations of the truth. But nobody never thinks about that. But let me show you something else. So what else he do, y'all? What is the role of the chairman?
Core role of the chairperson. 1. Leadership of the board. One of the primary roles of a chairperson is to provide leadership to the board. 2. Strategic direction and oversight. The chairperson also possesses the responsibility of setting the strategic direction of the organization.
That's his father did that.
3. Facilitating board communication and cohesion.
His father did that. Strategic direction and oversight. The chairperson also possesses the responsibility of setting the strategic direction of the organization. So like I said, running water, that was his father. That was his father's job. Now, he could have known. You know what I mean? We ain't going to absolve him completely. But to sit there and run this narrative that, yo, Donald Trump wasn't written to black people, he racist. Nah, yo, like, yo, people be mischaracterizing events. Yeah, we talked about that the other day, Rob. What else he do, y'all? We're going through the whole history today. What else did Donald Trump do? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm actually saying that maybe it's ignorance. But what I'm saying is,
according to NHNSCR.org,
we're holding him accountable for something that he may not have been in control of. Central Park 5. Donald Trump, Central Park 5.
The hardest thing is obviously finding products to sell and then getting authorized to sell those products. So with Ecom Authority, they've been able to do.
You better believe that I hate the people that took this girl and raped her brutally. You better believe it. And it's more than anger, it's hatred. And I want society to hate her.
In New York City in the late 80s and early 90s, the case of the Central Park jogger was notorious. In April of 1989, a white woman who had been jogging was found brutally raped and beaten nearly to death in Central Park. Not long after the woman was discovered, 4 black teenagers, 1 Latino teenager, were charged and jailed for the crime. The gruesome case whipped up an unbelievable hysteria throughout the city. The media ginning up fears with headlines about wolf packs and roving gangs and wilding.
Yeah.
But the 5
motherfuckers just want to believe. A lot of people just want to believe what they want to believe. They don't really want the truth. They just want to believe whatever they want to believe. They want to live in their own world where facts don't exist. It's all built off emotion.
Falsely confessed to the crime after hours of police interrogations. They were later tried, convicted, and sentenced to prison. But vindication for the group, known as the Central Park 5, came in 2002, when a convicted murderer and rapist confessed to the crime. And that confession was then corroborated by DNA. The prison sentences of the Central Park 5 were overturned, but by that time they had already served between 5 and 13 years. In 2014, the men were awarded a $40 million settlement from New York City. The story that had gripped the city for years came to a close, and yet one Manhattan resident's obsession with the case continues to this day. Just weeks after the crime was committed in 1989, Donald Trump took out a full-page ad in 4 New York newspapers advocating the return of the death penalty. And when the city awarded the men a settlement in 2014, Trump wrote an editorial in the Daily News calling the settlement a disgrace. And now, even now, As a presidential nominee for the Republican Party, Trump hasn't allowed science or evidence to change his initial reaction to the case. Just this week, Trump said he still considers the men, again, exonerated by the criminal justice system and by DNA scientific evidence, guilty, issuing a statement saying, quote, they admitted they were guilty. The police doing the original investigation say they were guilty. The fact that case was settled with so much evidence against them is outrageous. The woman, so badly injured, will never be the same. Joining me now is Yusuf Salaam. He is one of the men wrongfully convicted in the Central Park jogger case, later exonerated by DNA evidence. And Mr. Salaam, first, how old were you when you were arrested, and how much time do you spend in prison?
I was 15 years old when this happened, and I've spent about 7 years in prison, close to 7 years.
Before we get to Donald Trump, I mean, what was it like to go into the system at that age and spend your formative adolescent, early adult years?
Oh, I don't want to hear that. Yo, do y'all? So let me show you something. Know who's the real culprit in this? The DA who prosecuted the Central Park 5. DA who prosecuted. Who's the DA who prosecuted the Central Park 5? What? Who is the district attorney who prosecuted the Central Park 5? This is the problem. Now this woman right here,
best-selling crime.
This woman right here knew they wasn't guilty. And guess who she is? A huge Democratic donor. Knew they wasn't guilty. Knew the evidence lacked. Still prosecuted them. Now you got Donald Trump who don't know none of this shit. All he know is what he see on TV.
Writer and former New York City prosecutor Linda Fairstein finds
Lord.
herself on trial in the court of public opinion. Her most famous case, the Central Park jogger trial, is now being retold on Netflix.
I didn't see any lady, Kevin. I didn't see any ladies.
When They See Us dramatizes the story of 5 Black and Latino teenagers known as the Central Park 5. The young men were wrongfully convicted and imprisoned for raping a white female jogger back in 1989. The story dividing a city. Decades before taking office, real estate developer Donald Trump spent $85,000 on ads in local papers, proclaiming, "Bring back the death penalty." Now, embattled actress Felicity Huffman is playing Fairstein, who oversaw the interrogation of the 5 teens and prosecution for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Fairstein was part of the sex crimes unit, but did not personally try the case.
Our case is they're all guilty.
You tell us exactly what happened.
The men later accused detectives of coercing confessions from them, which Fairstein has long denied. When a serial rapist admitted to the crime in 2002 and his DNA was a match, the 5 men had their convictions vacated after serving more than a decade behind bars. Lester recently sat down with the exonerated men.
But I kept telling the truth for a long time. I started lying because of my father. He told me to tell them what they want to hear. We didn't get an apology. You know, all the time we did for something we didn't do, and it hurts.
Fairstein, now a famous author, is facing backlash on social media with the trending hashtag #CancelLindaFairstein and growing calls to boycott her crime novels.
Let me tell you something. Why wouldn't she personally prosecute the case? Something so polarizing. Why she ain't prosecute the case? Let me tell you something I learned, right? Remember I told y'all, some people know my situation, right? And I told y'all how my case kept going from judge to judge to judge to judge to judge because nobody wanted to touch it. None of the experienced judges wanted to touch the case just because it ever fall back. You know, just in case it ever come back in their face, they'd be like, well, he was the judge on the trial. She didn't want to touch the case because she knew good and goddamn well the evidence was fabricated. Still prosecuted them boys. But nobody ever mentions her. They blame Trump for watching the news and seeing the information and believing that they all, you know, admitted to the crime. Like, yo, we living in a fucked up ass world, man, where people just don't want the real. People want lies.
In response, Fairstein
Yes, she needs to be held accountable. She has need to be in jail for this shit. For what she did to them motherfucking boys, man. Because she knew about the whole play. The whole play.
Twitter account and resigned from the board of trustees at Vassar College, her alma mater. In an interview with the Daily Beast, the director...
Yeah, I think, let's see, the Trump apologizes to Central Park 5. Trump. Trump apologized to Central Park 5. Trump refused to apologize. Let's see what Trump said. Did not expect that Trump stands by comments. What did he say?
April. Mr. President, will you apologize to Central Park 5? They've been exonerated. There have been videos and movies shown about the case. You came out with a full-page ad saying that they should die. They should have the death penalty.
Why do you bring that question up now? It's an interesting time to bring it up. You have people on both sides of that. They admitted their guilt. If you look at Linda Fairstein and if you look at some of the prosecutors, they think that the city should never have settled that case. So we'll leave it at that.
Well, he did wrong for not apologizing, but I just think that's more ignorance. I think it's more ignorance. Oh, let's go to this. Donald Trump fined people on both sides.
Power E-Trade's easy-to-use tools make complex trading less complicated. Custom scans help you find new trading opportunities.
There's a lot of people in prison wrongfully right now. But he definitely owed them an apology. No, that's what I'm not going to defend nonsense. He definitely owes them an apology. But I think when it comes out, I think Trump believes in it. Well, I don't think Trump believes in the justice system more. I mean, now, as much as he did back then. Because he's saying how that justice system came at him. So I don't think he believes in it the same way. Because if you listen to him, how he talk about the justice system now, it's totally different than how he talked about it back then. I ain't getting nothing. I just don't understand the hate. I don't get it. I don't understand the hate. I think a lot of people been lied to. This is a big one right here. The Charlottesville riots.
The alt-left and white supremacists on the same moral plane.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this. You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious, and it was horrible, and it was a horrible thing to watch. But there is another side. There was a group on this side, you can call them the left, you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group. So you can say what you want, but...
Know who he's talking about? Black Lives Matter, Antifa. That's who he's talking about right here. See, that's the thing, y'all. Most people, do people know what was going on back then? Yo, do people know it was paid antagonists? It was paid antagonists. And we're going to see them again. They're coming back. We haven't seen them for 4 years. But they're coming back. So get ready. He understood that. That's why it was so much pushback with the George Floyd thing, because he knew what was going on. They running the play. But the average viewer just sees it and run with it. George Floyd was this. They running the fucking play. What's up, Cash? But let him finish because everybody went crazy about this.
That's the way it is.
From both sides, sir, you said there was hatred, there was violence on both sides.
Well, I do think there's blame. Yes, I think there's blame on both sides. You look at both sides. I think there's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it, and you don't have any doubt about it either. And if you reported it accurately, you would say.
Neo-Nazis started this. They showed up in
Yo, people gotta understand too, yo. This man was at war with the media. He was at war with the media. That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, people don't put no context to what's going on. He's still at war with the media, running false narratives. Yo, how many false narratives are you gonna allow get ran on you until you start acting like this? Until you just be like, yo, fuck it. Like, yo, I respect this way more than that political bullshit that we've been getting for the last 100 years. At least I know what he's saying is how he feel. I'm not giving him a pass. I ain't giving no pass. I say he owed them boys an apology for Central Park 5. He owed them an apology. He was wrong. He was wrong. Like, I'm not one of those guys, man. Like, I ain't one of those guys. But this situation was taken out of context. This a situation that got ran. You know why? You know why they was doing all this shit? Because of the George Floyd shit was a play, man. It was a play. The whole thing. Yo, you had George Floyd running in concert with the corona, with the sit down. That whole play was for the election. It's amazing that people can't see it. Yo, it's crazy. Y'all don't see. Yo, I don't think. I think a lot of people don't have an understanding of how this thing works. Like, people really think we living in an honest world where shit. Like, yo, I can't explain it to people that don't see what's really going on. I can't. For people that don't understand what be really going on, you won't never see it. You won't never see it. Yo, George Floyd. Do people know the details of George Floyd's situation? Like the real details. Do people know that Chavez, he wasn't even supposed to even be the responding officer? What's the odds? Let's think about. We like dealing with odds over here, right? What's the odds, right? That when Derek Chavez did that to George Floyd, he was with a rookie cop and a cop that was on the force for a week. So you got he wasn't supposed to be the responding officer, and he with a rookie cop and a cop that was on the force for a week. What's the odds that same cop do that and it explode into a whole and it erupt into a whole movement? Yo, the odds of that shit is fucking slim. Then you got George Floyd, who went into the store with a fake $20 bill, stayed there after he was aware that the police was being called, stayed there, waited for him. He waited for him. Then they get him in this situation. And George, I don't know if y'all know, but George Floyd was a big guy, like 6'5", big dude. The guy nails on him. He puts up no fight. Zero fight. Then after, and let me say this. Yo, human nature. If you ready to die, you ready to lose your last breath, then you're gonna fight. You're gonna fight. The body is gonna fight. Nobody wants to die. The man laid there. He laid there. And then what happened after that? George Floyd's daughter, free ride to college. George Floyd's daughter, Cameron Diaz, whoever the fuck that was, give George Floyd's daughter stocks in Tesla. Like, y'all don't remember none of this shit? We'll never see it again. We will never see it, not in our lifetime. We'll never see it again. Yo, people don't pay attention to what's going on. And all this is going on in a concert with the sit down. Now you got people in Minnesota who black population is like what? 5%? Takes over a whole police station. Then fast forward, the governor of that city or the mayor of that city at that time ends up being Kamala Harris running mate. Like, yo, that whole situation was a fucking play, man. The whole situation. Yo, when have we ever seen a situation like that? Yo, when has a black movement ever been that diverse when the whole world? Black Lives Matter. They put it on NBA floors. Nike is endorsing it. Like, yo, what the fuck is, like, yo, people gotta be able to see through the smoke and mirrors, man. Then what happens? Black Lives Matter stealing money. Matter of fact, let me show you something. And then we're gonna go back to that. Let me show you something. No, I basically just said he took a fall. He knew he was taking a fall. You got a man that's on drugs. Life rough for him right now. Life rough for him right now. They taking care of his daughter, man. His daughter's set for life. She's set for life. What's that man's name? Ghetto Gospel. Gotham Ghetto Gospel. Where the fuck is this fucking page? The fuck, he took the video down? Is this it? It's gotta be it right here.
Hey, yo.
Alright, check this out. Suit the yo, man. Got on Instagram. Got them city guard.
I was scrolling the gram, right, and I seen your man Mike's on talking about the TikTok ban. He brings Trump name up, right, and calls Trump the biggest scammer in the world, right? And I'm like, I'm flabbergasted when he say scammer. Scammer? Yo, listen, I don't understand why on his page you talking about scammers. Why you never talked about this, man? Why? Why you never spoke about this?
HVAC Trust. Hold up, HVAC Trust. We ain't doing that. Yo, welfare is a white woman's program. It's not about handouts. It's about the truth versus fiction. Welfare is a white woman's program, not black people. is way more people on way more white people on welfare per capita and numbers wise. We looked it up before. It's not about handouts. It's about truth versus lies. Because if you want to talk handouts, if you really want to talk handouts, black people ain't never got no handout. If you really want to talk handouts, I'm a bitch about police. No, see, Mark, see, now I gotta school y'all. And then we're gonna get back to him. Yo, the problem that we face with police is a problem that was created by police. Police created that issue. Black people didn't make that fucking problem. Police created that. You remember they was sticking dugs on us and spraying us with fucking water hose? Police created that problem, man. So you can't expect to get respect if you don't give respect. That's not an issue that was created by blacks.
How about this? Or even this? How about this? Why you never spoke about how Black Lives Matter been scamming the black people forever? How about this? How about even that? I could keep going. This. You'll never speak about none of this. Millions of dollars just scamming. This too. And playing on the black murders like this. Why you never talk about none of this? How they been scamming for years. It never stops. It's ongoing. Been going to jail and getting caught stealing and all that, but you never talk about that. But yet you can always talk about black people against white people to divide and conquer. But you never talking about how black people are stealing from their own people and how they keep playing on black people.
Right, yo. See, that's ignorance, yo. That's ignorance. Yo, the problems, you see, this what you gotta understand, yo. Yo, the problems that we face in the black community was created. How did they create fatherless homes? For the people that always say that, how did that happen? How did black families become fatherless? Do y'all know? How did it happen? Because people say that, but they don't even know how it happened. So that's the ignorance. And that's what I'm saying. And that's what goes into what I was talking about. It's a large percentage of ignorance on both sides, not just on white people, on black people, because they did a good job of keeping us separated. So we don't understand their struggle. They don't understand our struggle. It is what it is. Yo, let me show you something. Let me show y'all something. Then we're going to work our way back up. What was the percentage of black fathers in the households in 1960s?
According to the BlackwallAlestiTimes.com, according to the Census Bureau from 1960 and 2013, African American children who lived in single-parent homes more than doubled from 22% to 55%.
What did it say? Shit, say it again. What was the percentage of black families that were single-parent households in 1960s?
According to the BlackwallAlestiTimes.com, according to the Census Bureau from 1960 and 2013, African American children who lived in single-parent homes more than doubled from 22% to 55%.
So In the 1960s, 22%. So what would that be? 78%. 78% of black homes had both parents. In the 60s. So what happened? What happened? What happened? Let me tell you what happened. Crack epidemic. The United States funded crack epidemic in the 80s. Welfare. It wasn't just welfare though. Welfare hit in the what year did welfare start? What year did welfare start?
1935. No. According to welfare.
No, that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. How the fuck can I say this to get the answer, to get the question I'm looking for? What year was welfare introduced to the black community?
According to vcu.edu, over the past 2 decades, social work educators and students have developed a body of literature which describes the legacy and contributions of African Americans or members of the.
Well, it say welfare been around since 1935, but let me tell you what happened. So, in the 60s, y'all, it was fathers was in a household, but what happened was the crack epidemic. The crack epidemic was in the 80s. Then in the 90s, what you had the 3 strikes law. So the crack epidemic devastated the black community. And this was fully funded by the United States government. They had a whole war in Nicaragua that was funded off drug money. These are facts. It's not something I'm making up. This, you can look it up. It's real. So when you got a community, right? A community that's, you know, that's coming up. You got to remember 1980s. That wasn't, slavery was only what? 80 years ago. So you got a community that's coming up and you introduce a new form of drug, crack cocaine, that devastate the community. So what happens is it creates a separation, because you got people that's making a lot of money selling drugs, but they're selling drugs to their own community. So you got one half of the community coming up, the other half of the community dying. Now, crack is a serious drug. I don't know how many people ever live with a crackhead, but I have for years. They steal, they do all type of wild activity. So let's move on to the 90s. So in the 90s, that same crack that was introduced to the community in the 80s, now you're getting locked up for it, and they're giving you life in prison. They ain't playing. 3 strikes, you're done. So and at the same time, the welfare boom is taking off. Where they tell black women that, look, it's either you take this check, but he can't be here. Well, that's not a hard decision to make when half the community is strung out on fucking drugs. All of these things, y'all, was done intentionally. So what happened is you got the 80s babies, grew up fatherless. I'm talking about all my friends, there might have been 2 fathers. But it wasn't because black men just left the house. Because black men was either strung out on drugs or in motherfucking prison. And then they had a choice to make between. It was like 3 things moving all at the same time. All at the same time. But in 2025, it's way more black fathers stepping up. Now, we probably still got some work to do, because another play that was ran on the community is the independent black woman. The independent black woman kills the black community. Kills it. Because When you got the mentality of you don't need a person, I can do it all by myself, that creates disrespect. And ain't nobody gonna sit around and accept disrespect forever. But these are all things that was created through imagery, through music. All my single ladies, I love her because she got her own. They don't promote that type of music to nobody but black women. So when you speak on these things, yo, you got to understand what really happened. Black men didn't just leave because we ain't want to take care of our kids. Black men was forced out. It was forced out. And we're doing a lot better now when it comes down to fatherhood and raising our children than we ever did before. A study came out from the CDC that said black men is more involved with their kids than any other race. Did y'all know about that? CDC report on black men taking care of their kids.
According to TheRoot.com, an iconic CDC study found that black fathers who live with their children were more likely than white or Hispanic fathers to bathe, change, or dress them daily.
So, yo, when we speak on things, yo, we got to know what the fuck we talking about. I mean, but the reason why we don't know what we talking about is because we don't know each other. We too separated. We too separated. We got people living in inner cities, and we got people living in suburban rural areas, and they never meet. They never mix. They never mingle. They never get a chance to get a better understanding of the other side, and that go both ways. So then you have people come to here saying some of the wildest shit out their mouth, and they don't know what the fuck they talking about. They don't know what they talking about. And then when you get the information and you still want to believe what you want to believe, then that's when you can go into racism. Because that's no longer ignorance. When you get the information and a motherfucker is explaining to you what happened, and it can be proven, it can be shown, and you still want to believe what you want to believe, then now we dealing into racism. That's no longer ignorance. It's only ignorance when you don't know. But if I'm explaining to you, yo, this is what really happened, and we can pull it up, let's find out. Crack epidemic effects on the black community. That's too long. How the crack era changed black communities forever.
We will see large numbers of poor people, and specifically blacks, going to jail and to prison, and they will not have a chance.
In the early 1980s, the nation's slogan was clear: just say no.
Crack now has spread to almost every American city.
But
no, class
what
definitely
if
play
I
a major
told
role.
you that there was more to the crack era than what the white mainstream news media let on? And that it went beyond black and Latinx folks who simply needed to kick a drug habit.
You see the war?
Today's baggage: how the war on drugs ravaged black America. Once upon a time, in a not so far away and familiar place, the United States entered what became known as the crack era. During the early 1980s, a new drug somehow infiltrated low-income black and brown communities, causing crime and chaos. It was called
crack cocaine. The problem is crack cocaine. Crack cocaine may deny these black children a decent future.
Well, it turns out that your uncle, who always talks about the man, was right. Well, sort of. While crack did absolutely ravage some black and brown communities, it wasn't that simple. The United States government and agents of the state were corrupt.
Every 20 or 30 or so years, they introduce something like this to the community. That's what they do. That's the play. Me and G-Man talked about it. That's the play. Like I said in one of my other videos, we just got to be better prepared for the next one. We got to be better prepared for the next one, man. This was a 10 steps back.
And had a hand in creating this dark time in America's history. Misinformation about crack cocaine and its users flooded airwaves and proved to be just as dangerous as the substance itself. Decades after the crack era has come and gone, its impact lives on. But before we fall any deeper into this rabbit hole, let's take it back to the beginning of this war on drugs, which is often dubbed America's longest war in history.
Please search warrant!
The federal government first banned the recreational use of a substance,
they made
opium,
jails,
in
they
the early
privatized
1900s.
prisons.
Then came the Prohibition era, which focused on alcohol. Shortly after, the feds began to track and vilify people who struggled with addiction, especially if they were black. Fast forward to 1971, when Richard Nixon declared war.
America's public enemy number one is drug abuse.
2 presidents later, Ronald Reagan not only carried on, but weaponized this anti-drug stance.
Drugs are menacing our society.
Though Reagan was the first president who
I remember growing up. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. They ran a serious campaign about this drug problem that wasn't never going to stop. We still having drug problems in the United States. There's not a country in this world that has a bigger drug problem than United States citizens. So they ran this whole war on drugs, which ultimately was a war on black people that solved nothing. All it did was create more fucking problems.
America great again.
But rather, he made things worse for low-income communities. In fact, at the time, the poverty rate grew faster in the first 3 years of Reagan's presidency than in any other time since the 1950s. Meanwhile, in another part of the world, the United States was funding an
I remember that. Yeah, John.
And drug smugglers were sending cocaine to the U.S. on U.S. planes. Somehow, the United States officials had no clue.
Whether the United States actually loaded up the planes with cocaine, you know?
No, you're right. They didn't put a gun in you. Matter of fact, they did put a gun in your hand, King Carl. They definitely did put a gun in your hand. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what they did. Around the same time, that's when guns just started appearing out of nowhere. You haven't heard the Chicago people talk about there was crates of guns left in their neighborhood? This is all happening in the 80s. There was even crates of guns. So you're dealing with poverty. You're dealing with poverty, Carl. You're dealing with drug addiction. Any community. You can go to the most prominent white community. Starve them of resources. Put guns and drugs into their neighborhood. And I bet you in 50 years, that'd be a total different neighborhood. Total different. That's all you got to do. Any neighborhood, Asian, white, Indian, any neighborhood. You starve it economically. You put guns, you put drugs into the community and sit back and wait 50 years. Watch you see the difference in that community. It's not a black thing, man. It's an economic thing. It's an economic thing. Nathan, I know what black people problem is. Our problem is we don't hold elected officials accountable. That's the biggest problem that black people have. We can't blame nobody for that. But this shit right here, you can't put this on black people. You can't put this on black people. Most people today getting praise ran on them, they don't even know.
Or whether they just kind of turn their backs, right, and let the planes take off and go to the United States and land. The United States knew that at the very least that cocaine was being flown in and just ignored it.
Stanley Nelson is an award-winning documentary filmmaker, MacArthur genius, and director of Crack, cocaine, corruption, and conspiracy. He says that this rampant poverty and international scandal, which caused cocaine to flood the United States, was the backdrop in which the crack era took off.
The crack era seemed to come out of nowhere, somewhere in the early 80s.
It came out of nowhere.
Everywhere in Harlem, people would be out on the street selling and using crack. Not only in Harlem, I remember, I was walking across 42nd Street and people were in doorways smoking crack.
In his film, Nelson walks viewers through various phases of the crack epidemic.
At first, we saw it in the African American Latinx communities. Then, we're like, oh my God, there's an epidemic. The politicians weren't talking about it. The media wasn't talking about it.
That's how you can tell between racism and ignorance. I just explained it to you. You still saying the same thing. Nathan, do you think you know more about the black community than me? Do I go to the rural community and tell motherfuckers how to farm? I ain't never farmed a day in my life. See, that's the ignorance that's borderline racism. Nathan, how the fuck is you gonna tell me, been black my whole life, then lived in some of the worst communities, what's going on and where we lack in the black community? Please explain that to me to make it make sense. Please explain that to me and us to make it make sense. Hey, King Cole, what you talking about? We looking at it right now. No, that's not good enough. It's not good enough. How are you going to know more than me about what's going on in the black community? How? So what you want to say? So you don't believe us? So we want to read some articles. Let's go to some articles next. Since this is not credible enough.
We're not stopping it. That's a big part of it.
Some dirty cops took money from drug dealers, or they took drug money themselves.
What would you steal? Money and drugs and guns, whatever was it.
And somehow this fact was left out of the media. Wonder why. And then there was a shift.
A local success story took a tragic turn this morning.
Maryland basketball star Len Bias died after overdosing on cocaine 2 days after he was drafted to the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, we can't agree to disagree, yo, because you don't know what you're talking about. Like, this is not a fucking agree to disagree conversation. What the fuck is you that is called, I call it stupidity. You can't agree to disagree. How many years have you been black? We don't do that shit. We can't tell white people how to fucking live in whatever neighborhood. That is stupidity. You can't see that stupidity? What the fuck? They're like, y'all doing that shit sounds dumb. Shit sounds dumb. What is a victim? And Nathan, explain to me, what is a victim? Because people always like to go to that. What is a victim? Yo, black people are the hardest working people on this fucking earth. Hardest working. Yo, we come from some of the fucking slums, the bottom of the bottom, and still make it to millionaire, billionaire status. It ain't too many people in the world that can pull that off. The fuck is you talking about? That shit sounds fucking foolish. Shit sounds foolish. In Mexico, you haven't. I'm talking about on this land. There is not another person on American soil that been through what Black Americans have been through on this land and still progress, still make something of themselves. Yo, see, this is y'all don't understand, y'all. Look at this. Let me show you something. Look at this shit right here. You want to talk about victim? Look at this. Motherfuckers is mentally weak. Mentally week couldn't go through half the shit we go through? How many friends have y'all lost through gun violence? How many times you been robbed, shot at? And we still become success stories. Like, yo, that shit sounds fucking foolish, man. You wouldn't even know. You wouldn't know what to do. You lose a friend at 13 by gunfire, and you was there to witness it. Let me show you a victim. Let me show you a victim. This is the victim right here. This is the victim. This is what you call a victim.
What's going on? Do you live here? Yeah. You do? Papa. I don't believe that. What? I don't believe that. Rory, come on. Rory, come on. Hey.
All right, sorry.
What? She says that someone was following her. So you were walking from there?
You came this way, didn't you?
No, I came down this street right here.
Yo, everybody, see, yo, this is shit. Yo, everybody except for black people. Everybody except for blacks and Hispanics. They got some type of assistance along the way. Everybody. Indians get reservations, tax breaks, casinos. White people had slavery last 400 years. Asians had the Hiroshima. Jews had the Holocaust. All of these people receive payment. They all receive payment. Black people are only ones that face serious atrocities on this land and then get shit. And we still progress. But this is a victim. This is a victim. Right here. You're going to call somebody a victim?
And I was riding slow.
This is the victim. They got paid for the Harris when they got bombed, man. They got paid when they got bombed, man. Fuck is you talking about? Look, Google it. They got payment for when we bombed them Hiroshima. Not making shit up. I don't make nothing up. Everything I say is fucking facts.
Yeah.
Fuck no, I don't support no BLM.
What's going on?
Yo, Jews got paid for the Holocaust. Yo, what are y'all slow? See, that's what I'm saying. Yo, people just don't, y'all just ignorance. Like I say, it's a large ignorant population in this world.
Do you live here? Yeah. You do? Papa. I don't believe that.
And where are they? They're nowhere. What you mean Indians? Indians live on reservations. They don't pay taxes.
What? I don't believe that.
Look, I don't believe that. She knocked on this man's door. Look, and took off running, screaming help. Now look at her.
20 minutes home.
This is a victim.
Was broken into when I was at the store, and when I was a little girl, we had a man banging on our door. And
this is what you call a victim.
Helicopters hovering over our home. So, did I overreact? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But I showed up at the door and I said that I was sorry 2 times. People are going as far as saying they're not genuine apologies, that I'm out to get them for whatever reason that is. I don't know how it could be.
HVAC, you sound stupid. Sent back where? Yo, like I swear, I don't think y'all, that shit sent where, HVAC? Sent where? Where are you going to send Black Americans to? We built this country. It's a fact. And got no payment for it. No payment. Yeah, you racist. You racist, King Carl. You racist. Because everything I'm saying can be looked up. Because you're not saying anything, Nadine. You're not saying nothing worth saying. Like, you're not saying nothing worth repeating, man. You're just talking. Yeah, like, yo, send us back where? Yo, I'll reach to here. I don't know shit about no motherfucking Africa. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Motherfuckers be talking crazy, man.
Twisted that way when I literally thought he was a white man. So
it's not guilt, yo. Why people can't accept the facts? The facts is, Black people have been done wrong in America. It's the facts. Those are the facts. You got mass incarceration, you got slavery, you got the crack epidemic, you got Jim Crow laws, you got the Tuskegee experiment where they gave Black men syphilis. Like, you got Black Wall Street. Like, you got a fucking million atrocities on this land, and people still want to live in some type of fictional mindset. Those are the facts. Why people can't accept it? See, that's the problem, people can't accept the facts. That's why it's hard to move forward with the conversation, because people can't even accept things that have been proven. A lot of Black people is already here. Do y'all know what a $5 Indian is? Are people familiar with the term $5 Indian? What does that mean? What is a $5 Indian? Where did that term come from? Where did it come from? Can somebody answer the question? Yeah, can't call you just ignorant. I brought up a whole lot of shit. Crack epidemic happened in the 80s. Mass incarceration happened in the 90s. I brought up a whole bunch of shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck you talking about.
I knew it wasn't going to stop there, but the Facebook page stuff was deleted.
No, it wasn't shadow banned. Shadow banned. People benefited and still benefits from slavery. Do you know how many corporations started off slave money? Do people even know the general concept of what slavery was? Slavery was free labor. It was free labor. I didn't block you, man. I don't block people. Slavery is free labor. So for 400 years, it ain't just Wells Fargo. For 400 years, it was Black people on this land building this country. Building it. And there's after effects of slavery. It's traumas. Have you ever heard of generational trauma? There is a term called generational trauma when trauma is passed down through generations. And it's the institution of slavery and what and the effects that it have on the world today. It's a structure over here, man. It's a structure. So you can't say you didn't benefit. You did benefit. You benefited from the structure that slavery provided. I got my own business right here, Dr. Techno. Appreciate your support.
Me ever asking for any of it to be deleted. I made a public apology to them through the
It's not, you're not punishing anybody. Why? We just gave Ukraine $200 billion. The fuck is y'all talking about? We just gave Ukraine $200 billion in 4 years. And you talking about you can't punish the people. And it's not just slavery, y'all. See, this is not about, this beef isn't with white people. And I think y'all carry guilt. So y'all live, this ain't about white people. The beef that we got is with the fucking government. It's not with white people. Now, if you want to be a part of it, hey, you can. You know, but this ain't about no motherfucking white people. You the fuck you did to me. This beef is with black people and the fucking government. The institution of the United States. Not white people. Like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with y'all, man? Like, that shit sounds fucking stupid. Yo, that shit has nothing to do with the United States. That shit has nothing to do with the United States. Y'all just want money. I think we deserve money. I think for all the fucked up things that was done over here in this country, that's the least they can fucking do. That's the least they can do. But like I told y'all, we still thrive. People wouldn't be able to survive the shit that we just survived over here and still thrive. We still thrive. So nobody is complaining. And I think that's the part that people don't get. Nobody's complaining. Nobody gave up. Nobody is a victim. We still thrive. We still make it. We still become successful. And we done went through the worst of the worst on this land. Nobody else can say that. There's not another group of people that can say they went through what we went through over here and still thrive. Exactly, Naeem. We the most resilient group on this fucking planet right now. Indians cannot. What the fuck is you talking about? And no, the fuck they can't. The fuck? Indians went through 400 years of slavery over here. Indians went through mass incarceration. When I was locked up, I ain't see a fucking Indian. Indians went through Jim Crow laws. Like, y'all just be saying shit, man. Right, Paul? Like, they just saying shit. The Trail of Tears. Is you serious? You gonna compare that to the 400 years? Yo, a lot of them Indians ain't even fucking Indians. Yes, that guy. Slavery lasts for 400 years. For people that didn't know. Y'all didn't know slavery lasts for 400 years? Well, we just saying 400. It could be 400 plus. Then how many years was it, y'all? If it wasn't 400, how many years? It was about 460. Yeah, however many years it was. The point I'm trying to make is From what I've seen is 460. But you said 1,000. We can run with 1,000. What I'm saying is, black people are the most resilient people on this earth. And I don't even know how we got on this conversation, but we here now. And I see we got a lot of people that's ignorant, that don't know that they need to hear this. But see, the problem is, if somebody's giving you information and you're just not receiving it, then that's when you get put in the racist category. And it's a lot of people that just don't see it. And they don't want to see it. They just want to believe what the fuck they want to believe. Hey, Mafia, what the fuck is you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about, man. Yeah, we talking about American. Why do everybody do that? What about the Chinese? We talking about what happened on American soil. American soil. They weren't getting castrated and all that type of like yo, like yo. See, the problem is, and that's another thing too. School, and I don't even like going all the way back to slavery for real, because I think it's so much more. Not to diminish it, but I think it's other things that happened in more recent times that we can talk about, and that gives credence to, you know, the situation that black people have with the United States government. I think it's a lot that we can talk about, and it gains credibility, or adds credibility to, you know, things that went on, and they all. No, it didn't, yo. What are you talking about, Mafia? Y'all just be saying anything, yo. Like what? And the crazy thing about it is, y'all probably tell people this shit. How many years did the transatlantic slave trade exist?
400 years. According to alcatayan.com, the transatlantic slave trade, widely viewed as one of mankind's worst actions, lasted for roughly 400 years, from 1450 to somewhere around 1850. The reason the slave trade was able to last this long was the result of several factors.
Right. Redlining. Like, there was so much we can talk about, yo. It's like, the problem is, yo, people just don't want to admit the facts. It's like, it's similar to when you help somebody. You know, nobody wants to acknowledge the person that helped them along the way. Everybody want to just think they did it on their own. So that's just what it is. You know, nobody wants to accept the reality. You know, you didn't help me get here. I did this by myself. And that's what happens when you talk about slavery. Nobody want to accept that, yo, that shit was fucked up, yo, and that shit did set people back. And it didn't just stop there. You know, they had redlining, they had mass incarceration, they had the crack epidemic, they had Jim Crow. They got all these things lined up that happen yearly, every 10 years. This shit just was going on all the way up until damn near the 90s. This shit was going on all the way up until the 90s. To the 90s. Like this, like, yo, to be honest, America really just felt laid off on black people probably in like the early 2000s. Probably like the early 2000s. That's when they relaxed. You had mass incarceration going all the way up through the 90s. They probably stopped that shit in like 98, 99. Like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with y'all, man? Like, yo, can we deal in reality, yo? Like, this is the issue, man. People don't want to deal in reality. But let me finish showing y'all a victim, because people like to throw that victim word around. This who you call a victim right here.
Video to a whole followed 20 minutes home, and my car was broken into when I was at the store. And when I was a little girl, we had a man banging on our door and helicopters hovering over our home. So, did I overreact? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But I showed up at the door and I said that I was sorry 2 times. People are going as far as saying they're not genuine apologies, that I'm out to get them for whatever reason that is. I don't know how it could be twisted that way.
This is what you call a victim, y'all. For people that say I ain't never been no victim. I don't think black people got a victim mentality, because this is a victim mentality. When you cause an issue, and then you receive backlash from the issue, and now you're acting like you don't know why. This is a victim. Not people that legitimately have a problem, legitimately been through things that was not in their control.
Thought he was a white man. So I knew it wasn't going to stop there, but the Facebook page stuff was deleted. Not me ever asking for any of it to be deleted. I made a public apology to them through the video, to a whole followed 20 minutes home in my car video, to a whole Facebook page of almost 500 residents in our neighborhood. And then I posted in the comments multiple times when people were just saying, like, disgusting and just tearing down our family's name. I once again came on and I said, if there's ever an opportunity to reconcile, like, I will. I'm so sorry I could have ever offended you. And so I've absolutely apologized multiple times. It's not.
Hey, Sean. Rasan. Yeah, I live in the same house with my kids, Fred. How about you?
Been accepted. Go to a whole Facebook page.
This is what you call a victim, y'all.
I was broken into. I was riding slow because I'm looking at our Christmas lights.
This is a victim. She causes a problem, and then she receives backlash and don't understand why. She's a victim. Black people in America aren't victims, because we didn't went through some real shit that we didn't cause on our own.
What's going on? Do you live here? Yeah. You do? Papa.
Nope, I got 2 kids that live with me.
I don't believe that. What? I don't believe that.
Look, she told the man, she asked him, do he live there? She said, I don't believe that. After he said, yeah. And then look what she do. Look what she do afterwards. Look. She tell her son, come on. Then look what she do. She runs down the street screaming, help. That is a victim. What the fuck you talking about? That is what you call a victim. This shit right here
was like a political wet dream, because now
it's
all
facts.
The politicians, Democrats, Republicans, everybody was talking about the scourge of crack and the evil dealers who are dealing crack. And it was crazily overblown.
And from the era emerged some dangerous myths about Black people.
First of all, there was the crackhead, just had given up their lives to crack and, would do anything for crack. Then there was a crack mama. That was, basically Black women. This woman had sold her baby for a crack.
And an equally damaging falsehood, the crack baby.
Despite all the warnings, a growing number of babies are being born already addicted to cocaine.
Look at this.
They'll spend the rest of
how many kids was affected by this that was forced into the community? The drugs that was forced into the community now end up inside the children at birth. It's not a lie, Evelyn.
Their lives, suffering for the lifestyle of their mothers.
What would you do about pregnant women who use drugs and pass those drugs onto their babies?
The media played a huge part in making the public feel that crack was really the real threat and that treatment wasn't the answer, but jail.
And the federal government's response to the war on drugs was clear. Lock them up and throw away the key.
They could come up with a new drug tomorrow, and we're going to go out there and do the same thing we're doing today. We ain't going to stop.
While chemically, powder cocaine, which was often used by white people, and crack cocaine, which was more accessible and believed to be used by black people, are practically the same, if you're caught using or selling either drug, the law says otherwise. During the crack era, the sentencing...
This is why our fathers wasn't in the household. Do y'all see this? This was we didn't do this. So when you get to talk about a victim, we didn't pass these laws. Black people didn't pass these laws. This is all things that happen. This is real. This is not my opinion. Like, this is not fabricated. This really happened. They put drugs into the community, put guns into the community, then changed the laws to make the drugs that they put into the community carry more time than the drugs they was using. This really happened. Guys, racist people.
Selling either drug, the law says otherwise. During the crack era, the sentencing disparity was crazy. The rule was 100 to 1. So 5 grams of crack would land you with a 5-year mandatory minimum, but it would take 500 grams of cocaine to get the same sentence. Now, here's the kicker. Black people made up 82% of the folks convicted for federal crack and cocaine offenses, but only 30% of crack users. 62% of people convicted for crack offenses were low-level sellers or lookouts. Today, the number of Americans incarcerated for drug offenses went from 40,900 in 1980 to 443,200 in 2018. With over 2 million people locked up, which is a 500% increase over the last 40 years, 1 in 5 incarcerated people is locked up for a drug offense. And being convicted of a felony can impact your voting rights, access to loans, and ability to get a job, among other factors. To say that the war on drugs filled our prisons and changed the trajectory of hundreds of thousands of people's lives would not be inaccurate. And Nelson reminds us that the war on drugs also changed the way that we look at policing.
The war on drugs was part of the fuel for local police to become militarized. And that's what we saw, over and over again in Ferguson and with the George Floyd protests, cops with body armor, and looking like something out of Star Wars. So that becomes part of our lives now. And a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it started, with the crack epidemic.
Decades after...
Know who Frank Lucas was fucking with? The feds. Did you know that? No, Frank Lucas is fucking with the police. Frank Lucas getting drugs from the FBI. Frank Lucas.
According to Justice.gov.
Frank Lucas getting drugs from the police.
According to Wikipedia, Lucas was convicted of both federal and New Jersey state drug violations, with the case against him built largely on over 2 years of investigative work and penetration of his distribution network by the Z team.
He was getting drugged by the police. So it still stands.
After the crack epidemic is said and done, do you think that the forces that coalesced to create the period in time that we know as the crack era actually understood the implications of their actions?
I feel at this moment more and more that the United States knows what it is and knows what it does and knows that it's racist and doesn't care. I don't want to give America a pass anymore. African Americans, Latinx, and progressive people have to start there and then push for change.
The crack era vilified Black and Latinx people, and that's a fact. During this period in time, there was no solution other than jail. No consideration.
If you go to the beginning of the video, I'm talking good about Trump. I'm not talking bad about him. I don't vote Democrat, pimping. There you go. Not knowing what you're talking about, just talking. Just talking. Don't know shit. All right, y'all. Fucking hungry. Gotta go get something to eat. Yeah, though, y'all, but it's sad, yo, that people just don't want to accept reality. Frank Lucas ain't to blame. He was getting it from the police. How's Frank Lucas to blame? He was dealing with the police. Didn't Frank Lucas tell on police officers? They always getting it from the police at that time. Frank Lucas snitches on police drug dealer.
According to Wikipedia, Lucas was convicted of both federal and New Jersey state drug violations, with the case against him built largely on over 2 years of investigative work and penetration of his distribution network by the Z Team.
Wisconsin, Rick Ross was dealing with the police too in California. Lucas was credited gold traffic. After he took over Bumpy John's operation, he organized the smuggling. This heroin, this not even crack cocaine. The arranged bypass the Italian mafia in New York and act as a middleman in the drug trade. What the fuck? Fuck, I get rid of this shit off the screen. Claimed that his height smuggled $1 million in operation. You see that? He snitched on not only crooked cops, but also fellow drug dealers and on the mob. Yo, back in them early days, I think they always getting the drugs from the police. I think they always getting that shit from the police, for real. That's who put it in the community. Look at him. Gun crates in Chicago. No. Y'all can't hear me chewing, can y'all? Gun crates in Chicago. No. Just happened to be all these trains riding through the city of Chicago with guns.
In Chicago's violence-plagued South Side, even boxcars pose a threat.
We're already dealing with the consequences of individuals who are shooting individuals on a daily basis. And now to have illegal guns stolen and end up on our streets, it only compounds the issues that we're dealing with every single day.
Pastor Corey Brooks' church is a stone's throw from a Norfolk Southern rail yard. Razor wire once separated the church basketball court from the 63rd Street rail yard, but even that has long since rusted and fallen away. Police say street gangs have found the trains easy pickings to plunder guns.
The opportunities present themselves over and over every single day.
In 2015, a group broke into the yard and stumbled upon a gun gold mine, more than 100 brand new firearms inside a freight car en route to the West Coast.
They park their train cars often in rail yards that happen to be in high crime areas in the city, and that in and of itself presents a problem to law enforcement.
Now, why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Y'all just think by mistake these trains with all these guns just stopping in the heart of Chicago. This is happening by itself, by mistake. This is intentional, man.
Enforcement.
Retired alcohol, tobacco, and firearms agent Thomas Ahern says an old industry adage is a big factor.
Exactly.
Cargo at rest is cargo at risk.
Unfortunately, it's very easy for thieves to break into these train cars.
While guns have been stolen from other rail yards in the country, there have been 3 major gun thefts here in recent years. Court and arrest records show days after the 2015 theft, police found some of those handguns in traffic stops and drug raids. Another was used in a January 2016 shooting, one of 3,500 shootings last year. Most of the stolen guns have never been recovered.
And so we have to say something.
Chicago man says gun crates was dropped in Chicago. It was a video I seen where a dude was talking about. Here we go.
The situation in Chicago, man. I'm from Chicago, born and raised there. I ran those streets of Chicago and changed my life. But I want to kind of make people aware of some things that you don't know, because you've never really been out there, then you wouldn't know it. And it's going to be hard to believe, but myself, for a fact, and several others that I ran with know this to be the truth. Growing up in Chicago in the early 90s, the same situation was happening. I've been in Chicago where a person came into my house and knocked on the door to come and get me early in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, and said, come with me, man, it's a crate of guns in the alley. And I got up and ran out there, and sure enough, there was a crate of guns. And during that time when we in it, you're not thinking about where did the guns just come from. You know, you never think about that type of stuff, like where did the guns come from and why are they here? But now that I'm older, I can kind of tell you that it's a diabolical plot. Nothing is stopped. The guns are still there. The guns are still being placed in these different strategic communities. It's a plan. It's not out in Bridgeview. It's not out in, Westmount. They're putting it in the hundreds for sure. Yeah, they're putting it on 55th. They're putting it in Inglewood. 6:30 in the morning while older people that's at work, you sleep. You're not outside. So, you got the streetwalkers and the people that's out, they hustling and they out all types of day. Yeah, they're the ones that's going to run across them, and who would go and tell the police? I never went to go tell the police when we found some guns. That don't even make sense. Why would you go tell the police? So people are wondering why so much violence. You think about it. You think about this. Okay, the police are locking people up constantly in Chicago every single day. They're taking guns off the street every single day, every day. So how is it that all of these guns just keep appearing? Where are all the guns coming from? Nobody's going to the gun store buying these guns. So where are all these guns? Now, this is another part that you don't know. I was so used to having exotic guns that I thought that was the norm. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying far as, I don't know if are you familiar with guns, but a fully automatic handgun is almost impossible to get. You know what I'm saying? A fully automatic assault rifle, that's not common. It may sound common, but that's not common. A Uzi that's fully automatic, that's not common. So I was so used to having everything in the area that I knew of was fully. It shot fully automatic, fully. So me being 17 and 18 and in my 20s, I was so naive that I believed that's how awful guns was. I seen so many different exotic guns on the street running around in different areas with the guys just running around. I thought that was the norm. So now I'm an older gentleman. I'm out here, I switched my life around. I'm living right, So now I cleared my name up and got my record sealed. And I'm going to the gun shop and I'm going to the shooting range, shooting like I'm supposed to. And I go into gun stores and I'm asking for certain guns and they looking at me like I'm crazy. Like I made that gun up. These are guns that I've seen several times in different areas that the gun store is saying, how would that be on the street? That's something that you would have to get specialized, customized. You see what I'm saying? But these guns are on the streets of Chicago.
And the bottom line, y'all, try to get people to understand is, that this shit was by design. And a lot of people is ignorant or just racist, and they either don't know or don't want to know what's really going on. We talked about that, man. We talked about that, man. It's a lot. It's a lot going on that creates this issue. You know, but it's not a black issue. It's economics. It's an economic problem. It's like science. Like I always say, in order to change the people, you got to change the community first. People evolve. You know, just like anything. Over time, people evolve, people change. But you adapt to your habitat, you adapt to your community, you adapt to your surroundings. It's like a fucking chameleon. Why do they have chameleons? I mean, what do they have chameleons for? What is the purpose of being able to switch colors? To blend in, to hide from prey. You're not going to catch chameleons everywhere. You know, you're only going to catch them in certain areas where they can survive. So if you was to take that chameleon out that habitat and put it somewhere else, more than likely it dies. Or it changes. You know, it's going to adapt to that environment. So the problem that's been going on in the community for all these years, America has been handling it wrong, or they handle it how they want to handle it. You know, they want to lock people up, but you can't lock up the problems when the problem is the community itself. And the reason the community is like that because these communities are economically starved. There's no jobs within a 5-mile radius. Schooling is fucked up. So into America, focus on that. You know, the economics that allow crime to even exist. Then crime ain't never gonna stop. It's always gonna be issues. You know why? Because I think that's what the fuck they want. That's what they want. It's not because, yo, black people aren't more dangerous than anybody else. If you take anybody and dump them in the middle of the hood, a hood, any hood, they either gonna have to adapt to their environment or die. That's it. Survival of the fittest. Either you gonna become. It's like you go to prison, put them in prison. It's either you gonna adapt to your surroundings, and if everybody on guerrilla mode, you gonna have to be a guerrilla. If you're not, you already know what's gonna happen. Right, exactly. You say number one rule in biology is if an environment is created for something to grow, it will grow. That's what happens there. And happens in other situations. I already know, Maria. See, but that's what we was talking about, Maria. A lot of people don't understand that. You know, they say you being a victim. Nobody's being a victim. Why we can't acknowledge the issues that's still prevalent in this country? Why we can't acknowledge the things that was done wrong in this country and was done intentionally, but still strive to do better? Why? It's like whenever we acknowledge that, oh, you playing victim. Yo, playing victim insinuates that people quit. Nobody gave up. Nobody quit. People still getting up every day, going to work, doing whatever the fuck they gotta do to survive. Nobody is sitting there on hands and knees begging. But at the same time, we are saying, yo, y'all did us wrong. Do what's right. Like y'all did right by everybody else. Everybody else was done right when they went through atrocities. Why the fuck is we, why we, you know, the fuck going on with us? And we the ones helped build this shit with y'all hand and foot. You got Hispanic people that come over here and treat black people bad, not knowing that without the fight that we put in over here, they wouldn't even be here. They wouldn't even be here. Black people fought tooth and nail for civil rights. Died. Went to prison. Fought for years. And after we fought in 1965, they passed the bill. In 1967, 2 years later, then they started allowing immigrants over here. But these are the same immigrants that come over here and look at black people like we less. But meanwhile, we the reason y'all here. If it wasn't for the fight that our people put in, you'll still be wherever the fuck country you from. If we wanna keep it real. But no, don't nobody like the truth. People just want to believe what they want to believe, live in their imagination. And that's how this whole thing started. Because I started talking about Trump and why black people don't like Trump. And I was explaining to people like, yo, this shit that y'all got going on has been created by the media. It ain't really what y'all think it is. And then we turned that into what we talking about now. No, but see, that's what I'm saying. The truth is bigger than slavery. It didn't stop. See, that's the thing. A lot of that's ignorance. But it's cool to be ignorant until you learn. It's not cool to get the information, and just because this information don't align with your beliefs, that you just discredit the information. That's not cool. That's not cool. You know, but it's not just slavery. It's mass incarceration. It's redlining. It was the crack epidemic. It was Jim Crow laws. It was more than slavery was just the beginning. That was just the beginning. A lot happened after that. And like you said, we're still thriving. We're still thriving. And I don't think the people that's running their mouth and look at black people as victims for acknowledging the fact that there was some things done wrong, I don't think that they can even walk in our shoes. Because I've been around them. I seen motherfuckers break down mentally for things I be looking at like, damn, you crying for that? That really affects you like that? Wow. Ain't no way you could have walked my shoes. Ain't no fucking way. If that little situation got you like this, there is no way one of your close friends could have got killed when you was a child and you'd have recovered. Ain't no way. That shit would have killed you, broke you down. But these be the same people that sit back and say, oh, you're being a victim. Like, what? You know what the fuck I've been through out this bitch? A victim? I would say a survivor more than anything. Now, I don't even smoke weed. Like, that's what I'm saying. People just be saying anything. I don't, this is a black and mild. This is a cigar. There's not people smoke Cubans. You know, it's just a cigar. A lot of people smoke them. Yeah, but Fred, I told you what happened. Fred, was you here? I told you what happened. The crack epidemic took the fathers out the house. Mass incarceration took the fathers out the house. Welfare took the fathers out the house. That's what happened. They didn't just wake up and leave. A Dave Ghost. That we wasn't always killing each other at these numbers, Ghost. Like this is what I'm saying. Like, yo, that be the ignorant, that be the Charleston White dumb shit. Yo, we wasn't always killing each other at these rates. What happened? Something happened to spark this. Something happened to spark this, man. Yeah, there you go talking crazy, yeah. Yeah, you funny as shit. Don't even get on your ass tonight, Jay. Remember, I got you last time, man. Don't fuck around today, man. Hey, Jim, John, I just showed you who a victim is. This is, let me show y'all a victim again. Let's go back to the victim. Because people don't know what a victim is. A victim is someone who creates a problem. And then when the reaction comes from the problem that they created, they can't take it. That is a victim. Here a victim go. Show y'all a victim again, y'all. For people that just came in. This is a victim. Not him. Her. That's a victim.
We need you.
Well, I'm serious too, Jay. This is a victim. This is a victim right here. This woman right here is a fucking victim.
What's going on?
A lot of families didn't get on crack cocaine, Jay. That'll make your family better than the next.
Do you live here? Yeah. You do? Papa. I don't believe that. What? I don't believe that.
You're a racist, John. Look, she's a victim. Knocked on this man's door. He said, hey, what you want? She said, do you live here? He said, yeah. She said, I don't believe that. Then she calls the police.
Who chased her?
She said somebody in a silver
I
truck.
had a gray truck, and he came around the corner, and I was in the street.
Now look at her.
From there? You came this way, didn't you?
So she did all of this. The fuck? The hell, I missed the video. She did all of this. She did all of that, and then turned around and did this. She is a victim. If I can find the fucking video. That wasn't just the video we was. Oh, no, that's not it. All right, yeah, let me show you a victim. Oh, here we go. This is a victim, y'all. Woman accused real estate developer of trespassing his own home. Breaks down in tears in an apology video. This is a victim.
I was right.
She started a problem. Then the problem got out of hand, and this is how she replies to it.
I was home, and my car was broken into when I was at the store. And when I was a little girl, we had a man banging on our door and helicopters hovering over our home. So, did I overreact?
Straight up, Ace.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
This is a victim.
But I showed up at the door, and I said that I was sorry 2 times. People are going as far as saying they're not genuine apologies, that
You might
I'm out
do, you
to
just
get
don't
him
know.
for whatever reason that is. I don't know how it could be twisted that way when I literally thought he was a white man.
That's all, y'all,
So
what it is.
I knew it wasn't going to stop there, but the Facebook page stuff was deleted. Not me ever asking for any of it to be deleted.
Thank you, Mark.
I
I'm
made
glad
a public
somebody said
apology
it.
to them through the video to a whole followed 20 minutes home.
A lot of racists here today because we talking about this.
To a whole Facebook page of almost 500 residents in our neighborhood. And then I posted in the comments multiple times when people were just...
This is a victim, gravity thief. This is what you call a victim. Not people that's highlighting serious injustices that was done intentionally on their people. Those people are victims. Those people are survivors. This is a victim. This is a person that started a problem. Now when it didn't go her way, now she's crying wolf. This is what you call a victim.
Saying, like, disgusting and just tearing down our family's name. I once again came on and I said, if there's ever an opportunity to reconcile,
Yeah, John,
I will. I'm so sorry I could have ever offended you.
You know, racists are miserable, man. Like, you can't, like, it gotta be miserable to be racist. Like, it has to be. Like, there's no way you can convince me that a racist person is a happy person. There's no way. Like, how the fuck do you just not like people because of their skin color? Like, how does that, like, I don't even understand that concept. I don't understand that concept. So for people to be like that, it's either they was more than likely they was raised that way. You know, a lot of times they was raised that way. Hey John, what has a black person ever done to you? What has a black person ever done to you, John? I'm asking you a question. I bet you can't name one thing. You just say you don't live around black people. So they drove all the way to your house to break in it. Yeah, you making up shit. See, John, you's a piece of shit. You just said you don't live around black people. So how did that happen? So, John, it sounds like you're a victim. That's what it sounds like to me. You're a victim. right. Hey, right, Missy. That's what fucking sound like to me. You're a motherfucking victim, John. That's why you come over here with that victim shit. You've been a victim your whole life. Over the been victim blaming, but you the biggest victim in the chat. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, it's funny as shit. Yeah, you fucking super victim. The victim ass out of here, John. Were you a victim again tonight for being stupid? Yeah. Yeah, he set himself up for that one, didn't he? God damn, he set himself up for that one. Oh, goodness. AJ, why do you feel bad for her? She started that. Probably so. Gravity thief. Jay, she started that. She started it. She went and knocked on that man's door. He pulls up. He said, everything okay? She said, do you live here? He said, yeah. She said, I don't believe you. You don't believe me. Then grabbed her son and told her, come on, then ran. Screamed help. Knowing I could have got him killed. People have died for that. For no reason. Ran, screamed help all the way down the street. Help! Then she got backlash for it. And now she crying. What are you crying for? Stand on it. So that's the difference between us and them. Motherfucker ain't gonna cry about nothing. We gonna stand on it. Whatever it is. That's the difference. So this victim shit, y'all blaming the wrong people. Cause we the strongest people on this motherfucking earth. Everybody can't just change the environment, Dave. I agree though. I do agree, but everybody can't just change the environment. Are you crazy? Let's look at black inventors. I bet you didn't know this, John. Things that black people invented during slavery.
According to blackenterprise.com, one group of prolific innovators were black inventors born or forced into American slavery, says Shantavia Johnson, a professor of intellectual property law.
Let's see. It's all we good for is entertainment. Let's see, John. Let's test that theory. Things that were invented by black people. Come on, man. Things that were invented by black people during slavery. Trying to find a shorter video. God damn. Let's find out, John. Don't go nowhere.
File free in the app by 2/18 when you switch to TurboTax. Do it yourself.
This is Keep It G News history class.
Live from New York.
Arsenal was the biggest show ever.
I gotta have more cows. It's in America.
From creating one of the most critical cell lines that have ever existed, it covers 25 more inventions by black people that you likely didn't know about. Sure, you'll notice that a lot of these creations have been modified significantly when taking a look at the modern world. You have to keep in mind that black culture laid a foundation for many of the things we take for granted today. 1. The secure postbox. Postal services have played a really important role in ensuring we can get access to personal letters, statements, and other documents.
Is that like my subscribe to the channel for you?
1891, there was a consistent risk of items placed in a postbox being stolen.
Hey, John, I'm going nowhere.
A man named Philip Downing decided to take it upon himself to add more security to this design. It led to the creation of the secure postbox, which we still see sometimes in the modern day. The design focused on using a lock at the back, where the owner of the postbox can access any items that are added. At the front, there's a small hinged opening that makes it easy to insert letters. This postbox not only added security, but also provided protection against rain and snow. Philip filed 2 patents, both of which were approved in October 1891. 2. The sanitary belt. The maxi pad is a common sanitary product used by women today. However, they weren't always available. You can now find these items in your local supermarket, thanks to an invention from a
who would have known, Jill?
Known as Mary Beatrice Davidson Kenner.
Look at that.
She was actually the very first African-American woman to successfully be granted a patent in the United States. What Mary designed was called the sanitary belt. It paved the way to what we have available in the sanitary section today. This was something she invented in her free time, and even though faced with a lot of racism,
look, Jill,
she still went on to patent.
You need to thank that woman. You need to thank her, man.
3. The dustpan. Even though an extremely simple tool, the dustpan is really useful when it comes to cleaning up. Every time you use the dustpan to pick up dust after brooming, or to help get debris out from underneath the carpet, you're actually using a household device that was invented by a black person. Lloyd Ray is the inventor behind this tool. After he created the dustpan, he received a patent for it in 1897. The dustpan we know today still follows the exact same principles as the ones that Lloyd patented over 100 years ago. 4. The ice cream scoop. Another invention that's incredibly basic but surprisingly useful is the ice cream scoop. It's also one of the many tools originally invented by a black person. Alfred L. Childs is the creator behind the very first ice cream scoop to ever be made. The inspiration for this invention came when Alfred noticed people at a hotel he worked at had a difficult time using regular tablespoons to scoop up ice cream.
Oh, it's more.
He wanted to create a tool
They
that would
invented
make it easier for
too.
children to get bigger scoops of the treat. So he decided to make an invention that was entirely geared toward ice cream. The ice cream scoop that he designed was an early version, but it created the basic mold for what we continue to use in our kitchens and even at restaurants today. 5. The modern mop. Mops have been around for a very long time. In fact, there are some publications that date the use of these tools back as early as the 15th century. However, during those times, it was just a wooden pole with some rags attached to the end. It was not very hygienic and still took a lot of effort to clean the floors. Thomas W. Stewart was an African-American man who focused on creating inventions that would make the everyday lives of people better. One of his most impressive inventions was what set a foundation for the mops we use in the modern day. He didn't invent the idea of a mop, but took what was already there and made it much better. Thomas created a head that could easily screw off the wooden pole and introduced a mechanism that would allow the user to wring out water from the mop's head easily. 6. The lasting machine. Jan Matzeliger had a talent for repairing machinery since he was young, and after deciding to explore the world outside of his hometown, he found an interest in the shoemaking process. After seeing the amount of effort that goes into the work of a hand laster, he decided to create a machine that would provide similar effects. This led to the creation of the lasting machine, which eased the process of making shoes. The invention made it possible to bring shoes to the market at much more affordable rates. Many people consider Jan to be the person who allowed shows to become mainstream for the general public. 7. Folding cabinet beds. A lack of storage space is a common problem. In the 1800s, there was often little space in the bedroom. This is where Sarah E. Good comes into the picture. She founded her own furniture storage, which was located in Chicago. This came after she received a patent for her very own invention, a folding cabinet bed. The idea behind this bed was to provide a place to sleep. At the same time, it served as a desk. When you fold up the bed area, it turns into a desk with several compartments. It allowed people to have a workspace and a bed on the same piece of furniture. Sarah was granted a patent for the folding cabinet design on the 14th of July, 1885. 8. Answering machine with recordings. Valdemar Poulsen was the original inventor of the magnetic recording tech that most early answering machines used. He initially invented this technology in 1898. However, until the 1930s, these machines played back a pre-recorded message when there was no answer on a telephone. A black inventor by the name of Benjamin Thornton was...
Get game day deals on Uber Eats.
Now, I don't care what you have in 6th grade, deal.
Topping pizza from Domino's.
The first to create an answering machine that could actually record a message from the caller. The machine not only allowed for this, but even gave the owner of the system a timestamp. This allowed owners of this answering machine to know exactly when someone phoned them and left a message. There's some controversy about when exactly Benjamin invented this version of the answering machine. While many state that it was in 1935, there are records that show he filed a patent for the system in 1930. 9. Improved heat transfer technology. Ventilation, air conditioning, and heat transfer tech were already available by the time David Crosthwaite was born in 1898. However, there were flaws in the systems that large buildings used at the time. After graduating with a master's in engineering, David went on to improve the existing heat transfer technology that was available. One of his main aims was to improve heaters that were supposed to heat up large buildings. Once he invented better heat transfer tech, David went on to create improvements to boilers.
Some things, Jill,
He was also
since you
able
know
to
every
invent a
goddamn
new
thing.
way to implement a thermostat control on these devices. 10. Bread baking machine. There's nothing better than waking up to the smell of some homemade bread. While we do have ovens that can do the job, bread making machines are so much more convenient. They were first invented in the 1800s by, you guessed it, a black man. Joseph Lee started with a kneading machine, which he filed a patent for in 1894. He also invented products that focused on the bread baking process, as well as making breadcrumbs. The inventions from Joseph revolutionized the industry, as it was something that businesses could use to bake uniform bread at a faster rate and with less manual labor. He did decide to sell some of his patents to other companies, which is how the tech began to become popular at a global level. 11. Electrical resistors for pacemakers. The development of pacemakers marked an important time in medical history. What you may not know is that they were made possible by a black inventor in the United States. Born in 1920, Otis Frank Boykin created a series of electrical resistors.
So, Jay, you knew a black man made the pacemaker. Come on, Jay, cut the crap, man. Cut the crap. These motherfuckers save lives. Fuck you talking about? You better hope you don't never get a motherfucking one of them heart problems. What the fuck that shit called?
Tech that Otis created went on to help a number of industries improve on what they were able to offer at the time. His electrical resistors were used in the development of missile guidance systems. There were also several use cases in computing. However, many would agree that one of the most important kinds of resistors that Otis developed was the one used to create pacemakers. 12. Cotton cutter. While cotton farming has come a long way since ancient times, there were several manual tasks that led to a decrease in productivity among these forms. One of these tasks involved cutting the cotton after
John just racist. He messed me. He don't like life.
The black inventor behind the cotton cutter, a mechanical device that eased the process and reduced the amount of human labor involved in cotton processing. Until he was 13, George was enslaved. However, he was able to enroll at a university and claim his freedom. Apart from inventing the cotton cutter, George was also a farmer and a United States congressman later in his lifetime. 13. Ventilated shoes. In the early 1800s, shoes were already available to a large portion of the public. However, there was an important issue with the shoes that people could buy. They often caused blisters, which could be painful, and even led to an infection in many cases. Henry Faulkner was the first person to design a shoe that provided ventilation. His ventilated shoes focused on reducing the risk of forming blisters while people went about their daily lives.
Where would we be without Henry Faulkner? Ventilated shoes.
Patent for the ventilated shoe in April 1890. The design that Henry presented became very popular and laid an important foundation for many of the shoes we buy in the modern day. 14. Portable pencil sharpener. The convenience that pencils offer only lasts for so long until they don't write or sketch properly. Once a pencil becomes blunt, it needs to be sharpened. Prior to 1897, however, pencil sharpeners
he gonna come back and tell his little sister when we when the live over.
Changed this with his invention of a
like, guess what, Jill? I was watching a YouTube page called Keep It G News, and it was just so impactful. I learned so much. You know, I was over there being racist. You know, I didn't want them to know I was learning. Now I really didn't know shit. So I tried to give him a hard time, but wow, gee whiz, we just learned so much. That's what John gonna say with a live is.
He named the product the Love Pencil Sharpener and received a patent for the design in 1897. While it is known that he was born in 1889 and died in 1931, not much is known about his early life.
Yeah, he's busy. Look what he typed.
His life in general. He's busy. Pencil sharpener. 15.
That's a real victim, John.
Hand stamp. The hand stamp was an important invention that became popular in banks, shops, and several other institutions. However, there was one major problem that people often faced with these stamps. That was the fact that they had to manually refill these stamps frequently. William B. Purvis, an African-American inventor, decided to solve this problem.
Mel?
This led to the invention of the self-replenishing
hand
stamp.
Y'all miserable, y'all. Let's just ignore him, man.
Patent that William filed in the United States. It was granted to him in February 1883. This invention made the use of hand stamps much more
who the fuck would have known John can spell?
There was no need to constantly push the stamp into a block of ink to continue using it.
HVAC, leave jail alone, man.
Closed conduit electric railway system. William B. Purvis wasn't
just
known for
here
his
fucking with
invention
jail.
of the self-replenishing hand stamp. He went on to develop many other things, including the closed conduit electric railway system. One of the most important elements of this invention was to make the process of safer for everyone. The electric railway system that William designed used a series of iron cables.
The railroad system
on the train. Following this invention, William created the Union Electric Construction Company, thanks to several investors who were interested in the railway system that he created. The first installation of the system was done in New Jersey. 17. The tricycle. Bikes play an important role in transportation. They're an affordable alternative to cars, and before the engine was invented, gave people a way to commute without having to walk. The classic bicycle posed hazards to young children who wanted to learn how to ride. There were also limitations to what these devices were able to offer.
That a video fake. That a video fake. The man showing the dates of the patents. He said it's fake. Hey yo, why people, y'all people was crazy. Hey John, I guess black people didn't fight no war either. Y'all fought every war alone. Get the fuck out of here, John.
Matthew A. Cherry found himself interested in the velocipede. He had an aim of making transportation easier and started out by improving the existing.
You ride that to work every day. Look, a black man created that. Without a black man, you wouldn't be able to get to work.
However,
ride your little bike to work and shit.
Left behind. Instead, said, after he worked on the velocipede, he invented the tricycle.
John gonna be really mad when he find out black people was the first people on Earth. wait till John find that out. Hey John, wait till you find out that black people was the original people on Earth.
Still see in the modern day, especially when looking at a child's first bike. 18. The egg beater. The modern day electric mixer is a very convenient invention, but it all started out as an egg beater. This is yet another invention that comes from a black man, Willis Johnson. Something to keep in mind is that Willis didn't completely invent the very first kind of egg beater. There was one in existence at the time when Willis started with his inventions. However, many
you came from us, John.
Due to the many improvements he made to the design of this household device, Willis created a design that had a handle, which you would crank.
Once you do a DNA ancestry.
At the bottom of the tool. 19. Open heart surgery. Black people have had a big impact on the medical industry.
Right, Missy.
If you watched my previous video, you'd remember that people in our culture developed things like laser surgery to treat cataracts quickly. However, you might not know that it was an African-American man who performed the very first successful open heart surgery.
I bet you 18%
is attributed to Daniel Hale Williams, born in 1856. His ability to perform heart surgery,
I'm not
which
surprised,
was highly successful, changed the medical industry. By 1913, Daniel became part of the American College of Surgeons. At this time,
look at this.
He was the very first black person to reach a charter member status of this association. 20. Steam engine lubrication systems. The steam engine was a major advancement in engineering and had a significant impact on the transportation industry. However, as with many other inventions of the time, there were limitations that manufacturers faced with
that's what's wrong. He got that 2% in him. He hate that shit.
Elijah McCoy, a black engineer, was the person to solve this problem. Elijah created an automatic lubrication system.
What the fuck you mean? I'm laughing.
Solving this important problem and making them more efficient in the process.
Look, Elijah McCoy.
Elijah's career didn't start out as an engineer, though. When he began, he was an oiler and a fireman working at the Michigan Central Railroad. 21. Variation of the printing press. William A. Lavalette was a black inventor who made several improvements to the printing press. During the 1800s, the printing press was incredibly important.
I told you leave jail alone, man.
Newspapers to go out on a regular basis. This is how news and stories made their way into the homes of people in the United States. While there isn't a lot of documented data regarding William A. Lavalette,
hey, just be careful.
This is all I'm telling you. Printing press. He
also invented a variation to the
device. This variation provided media corporations with a faster, more efficient way to print. 22. Fire extinguishing system. A black man is also behind many of the modern fire extinguishing system designs that we see today. The man I'm referring to is Thomas J. Marshall. Sure, he didn't invent the very first fire extinguisher, but instead decided to create a system based on what was already available. The sprinkler system that Thomas created helped to improve the way firefighters were able to put out fires. It significantly enhanced the overall safety of firefighters and helped to ensure they could get fires under control at a faster rate. Apart from offering greater coverage, the invention from Thomas also ensured firefighters were able to activate the tool with greater ease. 23. The gamma electric cell. If you've heard the name,
no shit about my girlfriend, man. Jill is a borderline troll
entirely true.
That comes in every night. Well,
however,
not every night, but probably 3-4 times a week. Probably 3 times a week.
This is because he invented what is known as the gamma electric cell. The gamma electric cell essentially uses radiation to create high voltage. This
radiation
made it possible for cellular devices to connect to each other. Thus, while not actually the inventor of the first mobile phones, Henry did create the tech that we still rely on whenever we make a phone call or connect to the World Wide Web, even though it has been improved over the years. 24. The urinalysis machine. A urine sample can help laboratories and doctors draw conclusions about whether a person has an infection or even detect certain diseases. As you've seen in my 2-part series, there are several ways that black inventors improved the medical industry. This includes the invention of the urinalysis machine.
Look, John, over that, yo, you the one that said we didn't invent anything. I'm just showing you that this is you're misinformed. You're misinformed, that's all. I mean, this is just some of the things. This episode 2. Hold up. This is episode 2 right here. So I mean, it is the first episode that goes. It's probably a little longer. Might as well let it finish out.
Following the development of this machine, Dewey filed his patent in 1967, but it was only granted in 1970. 25. Computerized blood pressure devices. The last invention that I want to mention is also in the medical industry. created by Michael Crosland. By the time he filed his patent, blood pressure monitors had already been developed. The issue, however, was that they took manual labor to work and often involved doctors guessing the accuracy of the results. By creating a computerized blood pressure monitor device,
a computerized blood pressure monitoring
accurate
device
measurements for patients with faster, more efficient, and highly accurate results. Doctors were able to detect problems like hypotension.
Yo, y'all always do that. That's what y'all do, move the goalposts. Every time you get proved wrong, you just move the goalposts further. Y'all funny as shit. Y'all is too funny, yo. No, yo. Well, it's a more. It was one that was longer. It was a longer video. 100 things you didn't know that was created by black people. Hey, Jim, make sure you tell your peoples.
We're not going to win a game all season. Yeah, but at least we're not going to lose a tailgate all season.
How do you lose a tailgate?
With motor vehicles for the right to take the streets. Doctors, and was recognized as the father of the blood bank. He discovered and developed countless blood banking techniques.
Here we go, John.
He was one of the pioneers that discovered that basically you can remove the plasma, liquid portion of blood, and actually lyophilize, freeze dry plasma, and store those proteins for prolonged periods of time. And really, it was breakthrough technology in terms of being able to provide some kind of a transfusion support with protein during
Hey,
war.
those people wasn't even stealing, John. They wasn't stealing. They lived there, actually.
Today, with approximately 20% of donated red blood cells being used to treat patients with blood cancer. Another invention is the traffic lights.
right. That's the fuck you talking about.
The streets became a chaotic nightmare. Horses, pedestrians, bicycles, and streetcars all tried to compete with motor vehicles for the right to take the streets. The first traffic lights that were used in the US appeared in the 1910s. They were mounted on intersections and only had two lights, red and green. But drivers didn't have enough time to react, and this caused a lot of traffic accidents. Garrett Morgan was the son of an enslaved parent from Ohio.
It would take a black man to use common sense. We just got a red and green light. Man, can we make a yellow light, please? Like, it wouldn't be a yellow light if it wasn't for this man, man. This motherfucker be out this bitch having accidents at high rates. Salute to Garrett Morgan, man.
He only finished elementary school. He came up with a remarkable solution that would completely revamp the way people use traffic lights.
Was a madhouse out there. Drivers jockeying for position, changing lanes, or turning.
I mean, no, but I'm sure it is.
If somebody else was barreling through the
I wouldn't be surprised.
Enter Clevelander Garrett Morgan, credited with inventing this first-of-a-kind traffic light. Before the light went up near East 105th and Euclid Avenue, a light bulb went off in Garrett Morgan's.
In 1923, Morgan patented the first three-way traffic signal.
Look at that.
The traffic light we use today. Morgan introduced the yellow light to help inform drivers of when they had to prepare for traffic to stop. His invention helped transform modern America.
Well, John, you don't drive anyway, so this is useless information for you, John, since you don't drive. You ride a bike everywhere, you know, getting your calisthenics right. But for everybody else, man, this was a hell of an invention. I would say.
But when it came to safety, nothing could outmatch.
Yeah, you good, Bob.
Security system.
Wow, what happened to you?
Britton Brown.
Today, over 24 million households have home security cameras. But did you know the first one was created by a nurse from Queens? Explore the untold story of Marie Van Britton Brown.
A black woman born in Jamaica, Queens, New York, invented the very first home security system with her husband. She received a patent for it in 1969.
Home security system. Hey, John, you got one of them in your house? What do you mean? I always converse with the chat. I'm not one of them YouTubers that don't converse with the chat. That's the whole point of this thing.
Her concept was very different from the one we use today. It was more complex and very expensive to make. As a result, it wasn't manufactured on a large scale. However, it provided the necessary guidelines to create modern CCTV security systems. The next invention on this list is the cloth dryer. George T. Sampson was a black man who invented the early version of the automatic clothes dryer back in 1892. This device came with a frame that would allow the user to suspend garments above a stove so that they could dry faster. Before Sampson's innovation, clothes dryers in England and France took the form of ventilators. They were basically barrels with holes. Sampson's invention also functioned as a ventilator, but eliminated the necessity for an open flame. It was a lot more practical and efficient. Another interesting invention was the automatic elevator doors. In the mid-1800s, people didn't like to ride elevators because they were unsafe. At first, they were an industrial invention. They were used for moving factory goods. With the invention of the safety brake and other safety precautions, elevators became more personal and safer to use. Passengers communicated directly with an elevator operator who guided the traffic. This person opened and closed doors, told the people where to stand, and so on.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Unbelievably fantastic. Tourists to
Kareem
America in the
Abdul-Jabbar
1850s
invented
and
the sky
60s
hook.
went out of their minds when they encountered an elevator. There's a story of the Duke of Devonshire who went to New York.
No, John, keep it going.
And then he wrote home to his family.
We're educating y'all today. This is I told you, this is Keep It G News class. Class is in session.
I just rode on a vertical railroad.
On FanDuel Casino, every day is your chance at a free jackpot and the #1 feeling, which is still winning. Still better than number 85.
But some buildings didn't have an operator, and there were many people who accidentally fell to their deaths.
Man, I forgot, man. Hey, believe the MLK, man.
Decided to improve the elevator experience even further. This black inventor came up with doors that would automatically open and close.
Look at this.
He introduced a series of rollers and levers that would automate the entire process. Another invention.
Yeah, I know, Mike. You already know what it was.
Folding cabinet bed. In 1885, Sarah Good made history as the first black woman to obtain a U.S. patent. After moving to Chicago, she opened up a furniture shop. It was in this store that she invented a groundbreaking idea, the folding cabinet bed. Since most people lived in smaller homes, they didn't have enough space to fit their furniture. So she came up with the first safety hood and smoke protector. Next on our list is the improved ironing board. The Chinese started ironing clothes 2,000 years ago. The original iron was made of copper, stone,
John just want to be black, y'all.
baked on fire, and then applied to fabrics. But people needed more practical and improved versions. They wanted a durable and
asked him to figure out a way to keep food from spoiling during overland transportation. Fred Jones went to work. What he came up with was the world's first system for refrigerated transportation.
It's time for us to unlearn all the BS they taught us and learn who we truly are. That's exactly why we made our new hidden. They learned that a black woman made it. Although she invented the belt in the 19th, it took time and effort to reach every area of the back. Next on our list is the gear shifting device. Richard Bowie Spikes was a brilliant black inventor with 8 patents to his name, awarded in the 1900s.
8 patents to his name.
But because it was hard to limit the constant exposure to oxygen when in use, the beer often went flat and lost its taste.
Craft beer can sometimes be fresher.
Hey, look, John.
Often because of the way it's packaged. It's not exposed to light. It's kept cold the entire time in this country. Those are things that help maintain freshness of the beer.
So, Spikes came up with a solution that would change the beer dispensing industry forever. He devised a pressure dispensing beer tap. The beer tapper made the process
This is not 5'1", 300 pounds,
but
man.
preserve its freshness and allowed for more consistent pours. This technology is still used today. Another one of his inventions is the self-locking rack for billiard cues. If you've ever played pool, then you've definitely seen the rack. Before the 1900s, cue sticks were often disorganized, misplaced, and damaged. People would leave them leaning against the wall, or wherever it was convenient. Spikes invented a rack that featured a mechanism that securely held the cues in place. It prevented the cue sticks from falling or being easily knocked over. The invention had easy access
John,
for
support the
players
platform.
and
You got all
protected
that
property
money.
from damage.
Support the platform. Cash App Baltimore swag. Anybody put the Cash App at the bottom of the screen? John, you owe us a Cash App for all of this education that you learned today. So now you can pass this on to your tribe.
It was a win-win for everyone. There are other inventions that were useful for daily life, like the dustpan. In 1858, T.E. McNeil, an American inventor, designed the very first laser phaco. Dr. Patricia Bath created laser phaco, a new method and device for eliminating cataracts. This innovation is capable of performing all steps of cataract surgery, such as
eliminating cataracts. Salute to that woman, man.
Found the lens, making the incision, and removing the shattered pieces.
I was not seeking to be the first. I was only attempting to do my thing. It's only when history looks back that you realize you were the first.
Bath is the very first black female doctor to obtain a medical patent. She's now in the National Inventors Hall of Fame. Coming up next, we have the carbon filament for a light bulb. Louis Latimer was born to formerly enslaved parents back in 1848. As a young man, he was a skilled draftsman who showed century, and that is the
tobacco press.
John Parker was a black businessman and inventor who held a significant role as an Underground Railroad conductor before the Civil War. Between 1845 and 1865, he saved almost 1,000 slaves. He was born a slave in 1827 in Norfolk, Virginia, but he moved a lot and learned to read and write. By the 1880s, Parker became an inventor. In 1884,
yeah, I know we was everywhere.
We
was the original people
of the tobacco press. The year after that, he got a patent for the portable tobacco press. By optimizing the design,
we was everywhere, man. That's why I said, man, people evolved. You know, they went to Europe over time. They got lighter because they didn't need the complexion. It was colder there. So over time, over years and years and years, you start losing pigmentation to your skin, and eventually you look like John. You know, that's what happens.
Processed in a shorter amount of time. Well, there was another product that took the market by storm, and that was the wonderful hair grower. Ever heard of the first black woman millionaire in the United States? Madam C.J. Walker made a fortune selling her very own hair grower formula.
I have 12 emails, 30 messages, and a proposal due by 10. How am I already underwater?
I'm in the same boat. My hair grew back, and so did my confidence.
Cool, that guy. I don't have no problem with white people.
Ugly, make us feel ugly. Wonderful hair leads to
I'm not the racist John is, man.
Mama. To care more about their clothing and about their presentation. She knew that this market was untapped.
She began selling her custom pomade in 1905 with just $1.05 in her pocket, and it turned into a lucrative business. It was called the Walker system, which involved preparing the scalp with iron combs and lotions.
Hey John, cash up at the bottom of the screen.
Industry. The dual adjustable mirrors. Samuel Scroton was another black inventor from the late 1800s.
And not you, what you mad for, y'all? We learning.
A barber.
Not you is mad, y'all. He don't want to learn. I thought we was learning today. Y'all like y'all don't want to transform this conversation into a race baiting conversation by calling people victims. So I showed y'all what a victim was. Then we get into all black people do is dunk and play sports and entertainment. So I said, oh, maybe they're confused. You know, maybe they don't know that it was really, you know, things invented by black people that we still use today. Maybe I should enlighten them, you know. That's all. People just a little bit confused. You know, a little ignorance. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to open your eyes to reality. You know, because a lot of people live in a bubble. So when you live in a bubble, you tend to be bubble-headed. You understand what I'm saying? You're not really paying attention to what's going around you because you're inside a bubble. You really can't see outside of that motherfucker. So we just popped the bubble in this video. That's what we did. On this live, we popped the bubble. I think I might make that the title. Yeah, no harm, no foul, man. It's all out of love, man. You know, because I don't have hate in my blood. I don't raise hateful kids. My kids' best friends are white kids. You understand what I'm saying? I all go to the same school. It's just sad that in 2025, that's still a thing. You know, people still dislike other people or discredit other people just solely because of their race, and that's wild, man. And people still think that black people are just dangerous by nature, by choice, you know, by natural selection. Like, nah, man. You do that shit to any community, man. We can go to the prominent Asian community. The most prominent. I'm talking about they all the fucking median income 350,000. I ain't gonna say most prominent, but median income 350,000. And we starved that community of resources. 50 years, maybe 60. 60 years we starved that community of resources. And by year 61, they're gonna be looking around like, damn, what the fuck happened to here? Like, this was a community that was thriving. Now it's drug-ridden, crime-infested, Asian gangbangers running around, tattoos on their face. Because it's economics, man. Black people aren't inherently dangerous, like Joe Biden once said. Check my man Joe Biden. Joe Biden, 95 crime bill. Speech. Let's check out old Smoking Joe. That's what we was talking at first. We was talking about why black people don't like Donald Trump, or why I see this racist that people call him. But I don't think nobody's worse than this guy. This guy's bad. What the fuck is that? Oh, they took the video down. I got it on my page. Why my video ain't come up? Here you go. Let's check out old Smokey, old Sleepy Joe.
Since 1986, Congress has passed over 230 new or expanded penalties for drug and criminal offenses in this United States. 230 new penalties. And these penalties range from an automatic 5 years in jail for any person caught with a rock of crack cocaine, a piece of crack cocaine as small as.
Now you want to know what happened to black fathers? This is what happened. After crack cocaine was thrown into the community, Joe Biden did this.
With maybe if you visualize what one looks like, yeah, I do have a quarter. If you have a piece of crack cocaine, no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand,
look,
1/4 of $1. We passed a law with the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says you're caught with that, you go to jail.
Damn.
For 5 years.
Damn.
You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail.
5 years in jail for that? The size of a quarter? Jamie Christmas. After you got everybody hooked on drugs, using and selling, and you giving out 5 years for this? Golly.
Judge doesn't have a choice. Now,
from Baltimore.
The fact of the matter is, we've gone from
crack wasn't no more dangerous than cocaine. That guy, who the hell told you that? Crack and cocaine is the same thing. What you talking about? Crack ain't nothing but cocaine in a rocked up form. It's the same drug.
Under the leadership of Senator Thurmond, and I'd like to suggest that I take some small credit for it myself as well, and others, the presiding officer, that there's now a death penalty.
Damn.
And we passed it a couple years ago. If you are a major drug dealer involved in the trafficking of drugs and murder results in your activities, you go to death.
Damn.
And a number of other severe penalties. We changed
and
the law.
And that what Donald Trump just said, and people just went crazy on it?
If you are arrested and you are a drug dealer, under our forfeiture statutes, the government can take everything you own. Everything from your car to your house, your bank account, not merely.
So they put the drugs in the community, let them get rich off of it. Now they taking everything you own. Goodness gracious, this is like a setup to me.
What they confiscate in terms of the dollars from the transaction that you've just got caught engaging in. They can take everything.
We have laws in the last several years where we don't allow judges discretion to sentence people. Flat time sentencing. You get caught, you go to jail.
Now look, they take away the judge's discretion. Flat time sentencing. You get caught, you go to jail. This is why the black fathers wasn't in the household, y'all, if people confused.
I've been dealing with this issue, crime. I have been either the sponsor or co-sponsor of every major tough piece of legislation relating to dealing with the criminal element in this country in the last 10 years, as many others have.
And that like button, y'all. Support the platform. Cash that Baltimore swag, man. Support the platform, man. Anybody else speaking nothing real into the people.
Think about it. We have about 2 million people who have been using cocaine weekly in this country over the past half year. I mean, over the past half decade. But over the past 3 years, the administration has used its power to send drug dealers to jail for life only once every 3 months. The Congress is not tough on crime. 1,000 days ago, Mr. President, Congress gave the president the power to seek the death penalty against drug kingpins who murder. But in the past 1,000 days, this president, during the period of bloodshed and mayhem of which the president has spoken, the president has obtained the death penalty for only one person. One. Congress is not tough. Congress passed a law and said, Mr. President, find these people when you get them, when the Justice Department has them, and they've murdered somebody, put them to death.
Damn. Why he ain't get that much backlash?
That's what we said. 23,500 murders. I have been either the sponsor or co-sponsor. They confiscate in terms of the dollars from the transaction. Everything from your car to your house, your bank account, and a number of other severe penalties involved in the trafficking of drugs, and murder results in death. And a number of other severe penalties. We changed the law so that if you are arrested and you are a drug dealer, under your statutes, you can, the government can, take everything you skate in terms of the dollars from the transaction that you've just got engaging in. They can take everything. We have laws in the last several years where...
Yeah. People wanted to know, why wasn't black men taking care of their kids? That's what people wanted to know. I'm showing people. This is why. I showed people that the crack was thrown into the community with the guns. Now I'm showing that after they did that, they became stiffer on crime. You know, you get caught with a crack this big. Life in prison, at least 5 years. So when people wonder why wasn't black men taking care of their kids, here you go. They wasn't there. They sent them to prison. And the rest of them was on drugs. Jay, take accountability for what? Who did this? Is this a black man talking? Is this a black man doing this? Was it a black man that put the drugs in the community? What are you talking about, Jay? And I also showed you that the CDC said that black men are more involved in their children's life than any other group of men when they're in the household. But the reason there wasn't in the household is this. What you mean, what sense did that make, Jay? Jay, there you go trolling again.
where we don't allow judges discretion to sentence people. Flat time sentencing. You get caught, you go to jail. I've been dealing with this issue, crime. I have been either the sponsor or co-sponsor of every major tough piece of legislation relating to dealing with the criminal element in this country in the last 10 years, as many others have.
Firstborn son, what it is.
And I hear the president tell me I'm not tough on crime. Think about it. We have about 2 million people who have been using cocaine weekly in this country over the past half year.
For what?
I mean, over the past half decade. But over the past 3 years, the administration has used its power to send drug dealers to jail against drug kingpins who murder. But for only one person. One. Congress is not tough. And they've murdered somebody. Put them to death. That's what we said. 23,500 murders.
Then, Jay, how did the drugs and guns get into the community, Jay? I'm asking her, Jay, how did the guns and drugs get into the community? Because it wasn't always there. You know, it was heroin, you know. But how did the guns get there? Who bought the guns? I know. We all know. I want to see what Jay has to say. That ain't even the worst part of the what's it called? That's not even the worst part of the video. This is the worst part of the video. The Charleston White 2022 crime bill.
I think it's a game. And I'm really actively, if I ain't already proved to these niggas, trying to put these niggas' ass in jail.
I told y'all when I put a nigga ass in jail, y'all gonna know.
Hey, G, you didn't answer the question.
Didn't I tell y'all that? I told y'all when I put a nigga's ass in jail, hey, get on up here. I'm finna roll up a blunt. I'm on my way to the liquor store. We have an Atlanta rapper have now just been arrested for making online threats to Charleston White. We have an Atlanta rapper. He was
and this video is called the Charleston White 2022 crime bill. Because Charleston White sounds like Joe Biden. Don't y'all like Uncle Charlie? Let's check him out. Sounding like old Smoking Joe. And y'all can check this video out on y'all spare time. This is a video. Should have did thousands of views.
So I feel like I was just going to explain it with this.
Here to tell on now, motherfucker. And teach them how to fight, too. So if you fuck with them about...
Hey, Jay, but you may didn't have to use them. You're living in poverty. Somebody going to sell them. You know, you got to sell them to somebody. You ain't just going to get the drugs to hold them where you can make money off of it.
Telling they'll kick your ass. Yeah, we need some strong snitches, nigga. And they proud of it. That way, it help curb the violence in the communities.
Hey, Jay.
You got you a snitch that know how to...
You don't have to go to sleep at night. You don't have to fucking eat 3 times a day. Like, come on now.
Fight, and he'll shoot that pistol too. But he'll snitch. Who can beat him? Not too many people. That's who you got to put up with.
Now he's
That's
a fuck
how you
boy.
combat the gang.
This is the definition of a fuck boy.
Violence. That's how you combat bullying. Hey, teacher, he picking on him. Yeah, tell it in front of everybody. He make it so he'll stop. He picking on him right now, teacher. It'll disrupt.
Hell yeah, Jay wrong. Because if like I said before, if you go to any community, break it down economically, put guns and drugs in the community, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have murder. You're gonna have death. So Jay is all the way wrong. All the way wrong.
Up the Klan. Who do? He here? What he doing? He just got through pinching his booty, and he told him stop, and he done it. The kids ain't police in jail. Them kids still got access to this motherfucking ass. Matter of fact, they got more access to the nigga's ass when he in jail than when he in the free world. So yeah, it is my motto, and I'm teaching other black boys, homie, love your black brother enough to put his ass in jail to go Kia. You raising these kind of little yellow motherfuckers. You got a yellow motherfucker. Look how your son look. Talking about he'll jump on a 50-something-year-old, 18-year-old. Stay in town, nigga. I'm the new hip-hop police, my nigga. And I'm trying hard to put at least before I die. I'm trying hard before I die, homie, to put at least 100 rappers in jail. I got a quota I'm trying to meet. 100
but her opinion
rappers.
is flawed.
Signed, unsigned, known or unknown.
Flawed. This not an opinion-based conversation. It's not this is facts. We're dealing with facts versus fiction. I told y'all in the beginning. This is not an opinion-based conversation today. We're not viewing our opinions. We're dealing with facts. We're dealing with facts. Yeah, there are. Yeah, everybody don't use drugs. Everybody didn't sell drugs. But the effects of the people that used and sold were devastating.
I just want to rap niggas' ass. The thing for these niggas is that penitentiary.
Ain't no lies going fast.
When
You
they come
sound
home,
stupid.
they go to driving trucks around the country. They try to fix the family problems, or they barbecue.
Man, jail and mass incarceration destroys things. It keeps the cycle going. You take the father out the house, you take the father away from the child, the cycle continues. This guy's a fucking bozo. He's nothing right about what he's saying.
On Sundays during the football games, they become loving husbands. They try to get all their kids together. No, man, that's the best thing they could have done for the black community in the hip hop culture is arrest a bunch of them niggas. You going to jail, nigga? No, you the boy going to jail. Like
Not my opinion.
Yeah, going to jail, just like your daddy went, nigga. Hell, you talking about them boys ain't gonna be shit. I'm talking about that goddamn little Boosie boy and that T.I. boy. They ain't gonna be shit. I hate you, Boosie. And I don't like your little ugly ass son either, nigga. Little Tootie Raw, he going to jail. Yeah, little boy going to jail.
It is when you can't get a job.
Little Tootie Raw think he tough in the motherfucker. Boy, you little
When you can't get a job,
little boy ain't never been slapped across his goddamn head.
what you gonna do? You gotta make some type of money, Jim.
Neither do that T.I. little yellow motherfucker. Long hair free. That little motherfucker don't know how to fight either. Stay. I'm writing to the parole board. Keep it. He needs 7 more motherfucking years. I sent them numbers to the FBI. And so what
No,
the
he's
FBI
not,
did,
Fred.
they
That's not
needed
Joe.
probable
That's
cause.
some white guy named
See, what
Michael
niggas
Jordan.
fail to realize, they already watching these niggas, homie. But they don't have probable cause. None of these niggas have sold drugs to an undercover agent. None of these niggas have left enough evidence for the police to come with a warrant. Once you threaten me, they now have probable cause to raid everybody associated with you niggas. I give the authorities a probable cause warrant to come hit the studio because somebody out here done threatened Charleston.
Man, the police.
So I'm telling these niggas, homie. So, homie. And then I got law enforcement buddies. So they already watching these niggas. So once they go to making phone calls saying woo,
police.
Well, shit, man, we got enough evidence. Let's go ahead and get this. And we got a witness that's willing to come forward. And that's
so. As you heard in the opening videos, and as you just heard, this is Charleston White message: snitch, 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 arrest, arrest, arrest.
Must take back the streets, and you take back the streets by more cops, more prisons, more physical protection for the people. Crime is not Democrat or Republican. Making the streets safe is not a Democratic or Republican issue. This is one of those issues I hope this passage of this bill will be taken out of the gridlock category and moved into.
Do y'all know? Let me show y'all something, yo. White people kill each other at the same rates as black people killing each other, percentage-wise. What's the percentage of white on white crime?
81.3%. According to usnews.com, the number of white people killed by other whites rose 3.5% to 2,574 victims in 2015. White-on-white killings as a percentage of all homicides involving a white victim also fell to 81.3%, marking the lowest share of such killings since 2001.
What is the percentage of black people killing other black people?
According to PolitiFact.com, Fox's data shows that the majority of people are killed by someone from their own race.
Look, it ain't too much of a difference, man. They just haven't made a term for white on white crime. 84% of white victims are killed by other white victims. 93% of black victims were killed by blacks. The fuck is the difference, people?
More prisons, more physical protection for the people. Crime is not Democrat or Republican. Making the streets safe is not a Democratic or Republican issue. This is one of those issues I hope this passage of this bill will be taken out of the gridlock category.
That like button, y'all don't get to support the platform,
an
man.
emerging consensus. And the consensus is as follows, and I will cease when I finish this statement. The consensus is
like Charleston White.
We must take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to...
Listen to him. He's going to admit that the problem was created. Listen to him. For everybody that think this is my opinion. Listen to him.
Have to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my...
It don't matter if they're the victim. Listen to him again. They know this problem was created. They created it.
That is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask.
Hey, Fred, them numbers ain't have nothing to do with the percentage of people of black people. We was dealing with, basically, we were just dealing with the percentage that we kill each other. We ain't talking about numbers. We're talking about percentage that we kill each other. White and black.
Made them do this. They must be taken off the street. Unless we do something about that cadre of young people,
that's a whole different argument.
Of them,
conversation.
Born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. We should focus on them now, not out of a liberal instinct for love, brother.
Listen to him. He admitting that this problem was created.
Without supervision, without shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask.
Right, thank you, Bob.
Do this. They must be taken off the street. Unless we do something about that cadre of young people, tens of thousands of them, born out of wedlock, without parents, without supervision, without any structure, without any conscience developing, because they literally, I yield myself 3 more minutes, because they literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity.
Listen to them. They literally have not been socialized. They literally have not had an opportunity. This is coming out of his mouth. A lawmaker. A lawmaker. So for people to come up with this dumbass argument of you can't blame anybody, he knows it.
We should focus on them now, not out of a liberal instinct for love, brother, and humanity, although I think that's a good instinct, but for simple, pragmatic reasons. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society.
Look, just we created them. Where's John at? Did John leave? He didn't admit it. We created them. But it doesn't matter. Send them to prison. And people say, no, you being a victim. No, I'm being real. I know what happened. I lived in these communities. Being real, this is what happened, man. It was intentionally done. Not by mistake. It wasn't black people's fault. It was intentionally done. And this is coming from a lawmaker that played a role in it. He played a role in it. That's why I didn't understand how could anybody vote for yo. Anybody but yo. You know, he shouldn't have gotten that one black vote.
Good instinct, but for simple, pragmatic reasons. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets that society has, in fact, in part because of its neglect, created. Again, it does not mean because we created them that we somehow forgive them or do not take them out of society to protect my family and yours from them. They are beyond the pale, many of those people. Beyond
I know, it's crazy, right,
Brian? And it's a sad commentary on society. We have no choice but to take them out of society. And the truth is, we don't very well know how to rehabilitate them at that point. That's the sad truth. You're looking at the fellow who was one of the primary architects of the Sentencing Commission. You know what the basic premise of the Sentencing Commission is? I know the presiding officer knows. It was the first time in 80 years we rejected the notion that the condition of sentencing must be related to how long it would take to rehabilitate. I'm the guy that said rehabilitation, when it occurs, we don't understand it and notice it. And even when we notice it and we know it occurs, we don't know why. So you cannot make rehabilitation a condition for release. That's why.
And people say, you just heard Charleston White say, oh, you send him to prison. Your prison does not rehabilitate. Never have, never will, never was designed to. Strictly to punish. But you got dumbasses like Charleston White, and people listen to that dumbass shit he say, and be like, yeah, I mean, he making sense. No, the phrase that man sounds foolish. Sounds foolish.
In our system,
like button, man.
The federal system, you serve 85% of your time. I remember when it was going on, when I was making these arguments in the late 70s, they used to call Biden's same time for the same crime provision.
Right, it's the 90s, right? This ain't even that long ago.
We don't know how to rehabilitate. But there is a consensus, and I will cease. A, we must make the streets safer. I don't care why someone is a malefactor in society. I don't care why someone is antisocial. I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society, try to help them, but they are in jail. Away from my mother, your husband, our families. I would like to put into the record the endorsement letters from the 6 major police organizations: the Fraternal Order of Police, the National Association of Police Organizations, the International Brotherhood of Police Officers, International Association of Chiefs of Police, the National Sheriff's Association, National Troopers Coalition, and Delaware State Troopers Association, National Organization for Victims Assistance, National Victims Center, National Association for Crime Compensation Boards,
National got the co-sign that shit.
Alcohol and Drug Abuse Directors Incorporated. I would like to say, we would not have this bill. I've worked for 5 years in this bill with the police of this nation. Every one of those police organizations I've spoken about, their leaders have sat in my office, in my conference room, in my inner office for literally, if you add it all up, several hundred hours. We would not be here were it not for the police helping fashion this bill. And I want to pay public tribute to them now, and I would ask that the letters associated with each of the organizations I listed be entered in the record.
Now, these messages sound very simple. Man. Let's be trying. Oh, matter of fact, let's look at this. Since everybody like prison so much. This video should have went viral. This is a hell of a video. Since everybody think prison is the way. Let's check this out. Remember this.
A very high rate of incarceration historically, comparatively, and the other thing is
you do, Phil. That shit's fucked up.
So high, so socially concentrated that we're no longer incarcerating the individual, but we're incarcerating whole social groups. The rate of incarceration now is about 5 times higher than it was historically. Historically, it was 100 per 100,000. Now it's about 500 per 100,000. If we look at prison, if we add jail to that, it's about 700 per 100,000. Nowhere in the world incarcerates as much as we do. We've seen extremely high rates of exposure to the criminal justice system for African American men with very low levels of schooling. So if we think about black men who were born in the late 1970s and who were growing up through the American prison boom of the 1980s and the 1990s, the chances that they're going to serve time in state or federal prison if they dropped out of high school is about 70%. So going to prison for that group of black men with very low levels of schooling, that's become a normal life event. And that's really only happened in the last 10 years. We're at this point now where there's about 1.2 million African American children with a parent who's incarcerated. That's about 1 in 9. The research shows the kids who experience parental incarceration have diminished school achievement, they have behavioral problems, depressive symptoms, acting out.
Well, I tell you, the system preys on the ignorant, man, the low educated. This is things I be talking about that people be thinking, oh, that's just your opinion. No, man. I done videos on this. I did this video in 2022. 3 years ago, I did this video.
Evidence that these kinds of negative effects associated
with parental
incarceration are
concentrated. Rap is a problem, though.
But there's a very real risk here that incarceration becomes an inherited trait. The underlying issue is we've chosen...
Incarceration comes an inherited trait. Like father, like son.
Problems, depressive symptoms, acting out. And there's also evidence that these kinds of negative effects associated with parental incarceration are concentrated more among boys than among girls.
Look, when you lock the father up, you keep the cycle going. This is the game. This is what they know. This is what they do. That's why they attack black men so aggressively and send you to fucking jail for every goddamn thing. When they sending other people to rehab.
There's a very real risk here that incarceration becomes an inherited trait. The underlying issue is we've chosen prison as a way to respond to that problem of crime. And there are a whole variety of ways that we could have chosen to respond to that problem of crime. We've chosen the response of the deprivation of liberty. And we've chosen the response of the deprivation of liberty for a historically aggrieved group whose liberty in the United States was never firmly established to begin with.
Natives will. I ain't never seen no natives. I ain't never seen no natives in jail. All I see is black people when I was sitting in the chow hall. Yeah, this is a hell of a video.
I don't think it's a recipe for success.
But we would be absolutely stupid as a society if we didn't recognize the condition that nurtured those folks still exist.
You hear that? I didn't even know I ended that video like that. That was slick. It still exists. Still today. And that was in the fucking 1990s. So what do I always say? You change the community, you change the people. You heard what he said. The community that nurtured these people still exists. You change the community, you change the people. It's not the other way around. And I don't vote. I support Trump. But at the same time, I know that a lot of people that support Trump are either ignorant of the facts of what's going on. A lot of them are just racist. You know, we dealt with some racists here earlier. Look like they got tired of the truth and left. They was in here deep, you know. But people don't like the real, man. People want lies. People want to believe what they want to believe. You know, so this was like a motherfucking history lesson. You know what I mean? It's a history lesson today, man. Giving people the real on how shit got like this. Shit was by design. You heard it out of Joe Biden's mouth, his damn self. They fucked us over. But then it's like they fucked us over, and when you call it out, they saying you being a victim. And how you being a victim? These motherfuckers done admitted it. Nobody being a victim. I'm being a realist. And by admitting that they fucked us over, that ain't saying motherfuckers gave up. Man, fuck no. Ain't no giving up in our fucking blood. Motherfuckers don't never give up. See the shit that we done been through over this bitch and still thrive? Ain't no giving up in the black community. People be tripping. Give up. Just getting started. What you talking about? You heard me? Talking about give it up. Why would you give up when you came so far? I mean, mind you, people still got far to go, but we done came far. Ain't no motherfucking giving up. All right. Man, I went to the market. Y'all ain't get no snacks. Damn. Fucking kids eating all the fucking snacks. Damn, y'all mad as a bitch. So fucking cold outside. Oh shit, I got some breadsticks. Oh my god. Gotta have the breadsticks. Yeah, I just don't like that though, y'all. Cause them people that come over here talking that shit, they be coming over here and they really think they right. Like I told the one dude, like, how the fuck you gonna tell me? How you gonna tell me about the problems in the black community? Like, it's like they think they know more about what's going on in the community than we do. Like, yo, you know that is like damn near impossible. I mean, I ain't gonna say damn near, that is impossible. That's like me going to a farm. And I just straight go over that bitch like, yo, you ain't growing your crops right. Yeah, you know, you ain't supposed to grow corn in the summertime. You supposed to do it in the winter. I ain't never grew a goddamn cob. But I'm over there just telling this man when the fuck they supposed to grow corn. That's how they be sounding when they be coming over here saying that dumbass shit. But to them, they think they making perfect sense. But to me, it's like these motherfuckers talking Chinese. Like, oh, you do understand what you're saying makes absolutely no sense, right? Now we ain't going nowhere. Man, look. I don't even cuss that much. But when I do, I do. Fuck it. You know? You know? It's not a kid's show. We all grown adults over here. Y'all had to my damn, it's so fucking cold, y'all. I got damn pipes froze. I had to put this dang on heater under here. I should keep it under there. Y'all think I should keep it under there? I ain't want to do it. No, I ain't gonna keep it under there overnight. Hey, come on, Chloe. I had to put this heater under here. Y'all, my damn pipes was frozen. I'm not trying. I seen the water main break earlier. I said, ooh, I know them people hurt. But yeah, though, y'all, like, them people that do that, they piss me off because they come over here with such arrogance, but they really don't know nothing that they speak of, like nothing. Like the shit, it sounds so foolish. Like even the thought process. Like if I was to go to a farm and I want to, even if I think I know about farming, if I go over there and I'm talking to a farmer, I'm gonna listen. I ain't gonna give him no advice. I'm listening. I don't know the first thing about motherfucking growing nothing. But these people come over here and tell us, oh, the problems in the black community is black men not taking care of their kids. Well, why? Welfare? Like, yo, come on, yo. Like, what does that even mean? What you mean welfare? What happened with welfare? Like, elaborate. Don't just say nothing fucking stupid. They can't give you no real context on nothing. Man, it's cold as shit over this part. It's negative degrees outside. It's negative right now. I come in the house. My goddamn kids in here. They just run in the water. Water ain't going nowhere. I'm like, goddamn, you're like, anybody think to stop running the water or stop using the sink? Or at least say something, call me? Kid's crazy, man. Exactly, Michael. I just be tripping off them because they do it so often. Nope, not from Africa, Michael. Why the fuck would you think? And I'm not an actor either. Or how would I better talk like Hakeem? I'm not even a real person. You know, it's 12 degrees in the city. It's going to be negative 10 tomorrow in Pittsburgh. Don't call me Tyrone. Oh, funny as shit. But I'm ready to go though, y'all. I appreciate everybody that tapped. I think this is a good live. This is a real informative live. I'll make sure I hit the cash app, man. Support the platform, man. My platform. I gotta call my sister. My sister in labor. My sister 45 and in labor, y'all. She ready to have another baby. She married though, so it is what it is. It's a blessing. I need to call my mother. But yeah, y'all. Salute to everybody. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like I said, if you can't support the platform, it's another day of Keeping G News, and I'm out.